I'd walk. 145 over 92, and then I had a heart attack.
182 over 100, and I had a heart attack and a cardiac arrest, and then a stroke. Everything changed. It felt like my life was over.
This is what high blood pressure sounds like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a heart attack or stroke are far from invisible or silent.
150 over 90, and I had a stroke. If I would have followed a treatment plan, I would not be in this situation.
180 over 110, and I had a stroke. And I'm 33, so I never see this coming.
If you've come off your treatment plan, get back on it, or talk with your doctor to create an exercise, diet, and medication plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Head to toe, everything's changed. Head to toe.
Brought to you by the American Heart Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
This is a Steckline communication station, K273CX, FM 102.5, and AM 1480 KQAM, Wichita proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by MJ's Truck Repair of Mound Ridge, Kansas. Sales and service of the big rigs and trailers, plus ag diesel equipment repair on and off the farm.
Good Tuesday. A man who was shot last week by Wichita police officers has died. Wichita police said yesterday that 29-year-old Jeffrey Morris of Wichita died from his injuries on Saturday. Police say Morris was shot Thursday when officers tried to arrest him on an outstanding warrant. Police say that Morris intentionally backed into a car, then drove forward in his effort to escape, causing officers to fear they could be run over or seriously hurt. The man that pled guilty to running over a Wichita police officer last year has been sentenced. 32-year-old Justin Terrasas was sentenced yesterday to just over 28 years for that offense, which will run consecutively with an 11-year sentence in a case from Ellsworth County. In February of 2017, Officer Bryan and his partner were monitoring a house when Terrasas fled in an SUV and ran over Arterburn as he was attempting to place stop strips in the path of the SUV's tires. Bryan Arterburn, a 25-year police veteran, suffered chest, abdomen, and brain injuries in the incident. I'm Rick Everett. Now with sports, Doug Downs.
The number 7 Kansas Jayhawks got a scare last night inside Allen Fieldhouse from upset-minded Texas. The Longhorns came in and played the Jayhawks tight to an 80-78 win for Kansas. Sophomore guard Marcus Garrett had 20 points, something head coach Bill Self has been waiting for.
That's the first time we've seen him be aggressive like that offensively since he's been here. And of course, it always helps when your first couple of shots go down, but he was really a good player tonight.
For the Wichita State Shockers, they're in final preparation as they're still looking for their first conference win, starting 0-4 in the conference on the season. They will face Central Florida tomorrow night at Charles Koch Arena. From the Sports Desk, I'm Doug Downs.
Hi, this is Phil Martinez at Phil's Coins. At the shop, we talk all the time about honesty and integrity. And in our shop, we've decided that honesty means nothing without integrity. So what I would tell you is that if you didn't bring your coins to Phil's Coins, honestly, you didn't get enough money for what you have. Come see us at Phil's Coins, 9344 West Central, or online at philscoins.com.
If you're active military, a veteran, or part of our law enforcement community, bring in your active or inactive military ID or an active law enforcement ID to any Riverside Cafe location. Buy 2 meals and a drink and get the second meal of equal or lesser value for free. Again, for any military vets or law enforcement, buy 1 meal and 2 drinks and get the second meal at no charge. Riverside Cafe.
Riverside Cafe, with all 3 locations serving all-day breakfast. In Wichita at 9125 West Central, 13th in Bidding, and in Derby at 824 North Baltimore.
Whether it's your home or your business, from roofing to foundation repair, Romani Construction of Wichita makes the process of construction or home and business improvement easy. Romani Construction involves you in the process from concept to completion. Better Business Bureau accredited, Romani Construction specializes in roofing, fire and water restoration, foundation repair, and concrete, and is locally owned and operated. From setting a start date when things actually get started to completing your project on time, call Romani Construction of Wichita, 252-7972.
Right now, when it's cold outside, you should be thinking about spring, because when spring arrives and the grass starts growing, you'll want to start mowing. And Maximum Outdoor Equipment wants you and your lawnmower to be ready by offering an Oregon Parts Winter Service Special. Maximum Outdoor Equipment uses genuine Oregon parts, and through February 28th, they're offering you a 15% discount on winter service labor or half-off pickup and delivery within a 25-mile radius. Don't wait until spring and get caught in a backlog with all the folks who didn't get their mower lawnmowers serviced over the winter, save time and money by taking advantage of Maximum Outdoor Equipment's Oregon Parts Winter Service Special, which ends February 28th. See Winter Service Special details online at MaximumOutdoor.com or give them a call at 943-0201. Maximum Outdoor Equipment is the small box store that knows mowers, just south of Kellogg on West Street.
Maximum service, maximum value, Maximum Outdoor Equipment.
Here's the latest from the KQAM News Center.
The Senate Judiciary Committee begins considering President Trump's nomination of William Barr to be Attorney General in 3 hours. Barr sought to calm things down yesterday by releasing parts of his prepared testimony, where he promises to let special counsel Robert Mueller finish his Russia probe and says he thinks the public should see the report. House GOP leaders have removed Iowa Congressman Steve King from all committee assignments following backlash over remarks considered racist. Iowa State Senator Randy Feenstra says it's time for King to resign.
He's got to decide what he wants to do. Does he want to step aside and allow somebody else to have the opportunity to have a new face in Congress? And I just look at it and hope he makes the right decision.
The House Democratic leadership has scheduled a vote today on denouncing King. Tens of thousands of teachers will walk picket lines again today in Los Angeles, a day after striking for the first time in 3 decades. Talks have broken down. Evacuation orders continue this morning from Santa Barbara County down to Los Angeles County. Mudslides. I'm Michael Toscano.
Your local weather on KQAM. Brought to you by Maximum Outdoor Equipment. All equipment outdoors, from lawnmowers to snowblowers. Just south of Kellogg on West Street and online at MaximumOutdoor.com.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, some patchy fog, mostly sunny and 50. Tonight, partly cloudy and 30. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy and 43. Chance of rain tomorrow night, mostly cloudy and 32. Sunny and 48 Thursday. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 6:06, it's currently 26 degrees.
Kansas State politics at its best. Catch the latest only on the Big Talker, KQAM. It's time for Reason.
I don't think we should just do it. Why? You're here illegally. You've broken the law. There's no reason to even give you an ID form in any way, shape, or form. Why would we do that? Why would we step out as a state and say, you know what? You're violating federal immigration law. That's even mentioned here in the bill. You're not allowed to get an ID unless you're applying for a limited driver's license. Then it's okay if you're violating federal law, and it'll still give you some form of ID.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Then I'll get on my knees and pray. We don't get fooled again. Don't get fooled again.
Boy, oh boy, I tell you, 1.5 day of a legislative session, and the bills start piling up. Everybody goes crazy. The media doesn't know how to respond to all this. There's just way too much to cover. Way too much to cover. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. It is a Tuesday. We are officially, it's funny. I find it ironic. I find it kind of entertaining. A new Democrat governor gets sworn into the office in the state of Kansas, and since then, it's been icy cold. It's been icy cold in the state of Kansas since Monday morning. As they about get ready to get sworn in, we have below freezing temperatures. We have ice and we have some chills. We have the frost on the windshields this morning. It is an icy cold day. It's supposed to be one of the coldest days of the this week. It's supposed to be like the coldest week of the year so far. And I think it's all because of the fact that, hey, you know what? We swore in a Democrat governor, and now our state is icy cold. What do you think? What do you think? Am I just being too mean? Yeah. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. It's a Tuesday. Great to have you along today. The post Monday. As we continue on this week, we have so much to get to today. It is going to be a really fun day, kind of, because we have a lot to get to between the federal government, but majoritively, we're going to spend a lot of time today at the statewide level. We have our new governor. We have the legislative session. We have our new legislators that are officially sworn in, and looking forward to chatting with a lot of them throughout the next couple of weeks. We have a lot of great guests today. We have some new bills that are presented at the statewide level that I think may intrigue you. Yes, we will read some of the legislative bills today, especially coming out of the Senate. is last week before the session actually began, there were like 3 or 4 different Senate bills that were pending. Now there are 2 pages of them on the legislative website, kslegislature.org, which I don't know why it's not kslegislature.gov because it's a government organization, but it's not. So you're always welcome to go to kslegislature.org and look at all the different bills from the House side and the Senate side, look at their calendars, all that good stuff. But there are 2 pages now of Senate bills. There's about 15 bills pending to be discussed. Some of them are kind of interesting. So I'll read some of those as I do want to stay on top of it, allowing you to know what the heck's going on here. And we'll go from there. Plus, coming up on the show today, we have Bryan Frye, Wichita City Council member. As usual, it's a Tuesday. We'll get an update from the City Council for the city of Wichita. We have Jake LaTurner at 8 o'clock, who is the Kansas State Treasurer, also the very first candidate to jump into the race for the 2020 Senate race here in Kansas. We'll chat with him. And then State Senator Ty Masterson, who also is the president of the Truth Caucus, or the chair of the Truth Caucus in the state legislature, and we'll get his update on some of the issues going on in the Senate side and his take on the very first day of Governor Laura Kelly. Tomorrow is the State of the State address. We're going to be broadcasting that live here on KQAM. That is at 6:30 in the evening, and you're going to want to watch it, or you're going to want to tune into KQAM. We have our great sponsors that are allowing us to do that, but we're going to cover it live, and then, of course, we'll do our response to it on Thursday. But tomorrow night is the State of the State address, where we get to figure out what the budget's going to look like, what Laura Kelly is going to be having as a priority, what she wants to focus on. We already know, but then she's going to lay out the plan to supposedly find a way to make it all happen. I'm not very optimistic on how she's going to do it, but I'm looking forward to hearing what she has to say about that. So tomorrow, State of the State address, you can hear it here on KQAM at 6:30, brought to you by Augusta Flight Center, Countryside Motors, Phil's Coins, Davis Liquor Outlet, and Heartland Avionics, JD Aviation. So we appreciate those guys very much so partnering up with us on that. I do. First off, though, I do want to start off with some federal issues, and I have to say I absolutely love President Donald Trump. Can I just say that right now? I know that's a trigger warning for many Democrats and progressives and all the ones that hate Donald Trump, thinks he's some crazy radical fascist or whatever, but I love President Donald Trump. I don't know if you saw this or not. I don't know if it was on the news last night. It's on the news this morning, but it was absolutely hysterical. The Clemson Tigers football team traveled to the White House, and because of the government shutdown, they did not have the funds to provide a big dinner like they usually do. The teams come in. They have a big smorgasbord, a big buffet thing going on. They can get their trays of food and all that. They didn't have that for the Clemson Tigers. So what did President Donald Trump do? He bought food himself. Yes, he bought the food himself for the entire Clemson football team to come to the White House, to tour the White House, and then to get to enjoy and eat. And what did he buy them? He bought them McDonald's Big Mac burgers, Wendy's, and Domino's Pizza. This is what he had to say.
We have pizzas, we have 300 hamburgers, many French fries, all of our favorite foods. I want to see what's here when we leave, because I don't think it's going to be much. The reason we did this is because of the shutdown. We want to make sure that everything is right. So we sent out, we got this, and we have some wonderful people working at the White House. They helped us out with this. And I will say the Republicans are really sticking together. It's great to see, because we need border security. We have to have it. We have to have it. No doubt about it. Should have happened 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago. And it's going to happen now. Going to happen now. Thank you very much, everybody.
There it is. All right. So there it is. There's lots and lots of French fries. There's pizza. There's 300 plus hamburgers. There's stuff. And I mean, they were in the Big Mac cartons. They were in the Wendy's wrappings. It was hysterical. Hysterical. I don't think that kind of food has ever been served. The only thing I think he was missing was some burritos from Taco Bell, which probably means that he's a racist, right? Because the media probably go, well, he had burgers, he had French fries, he had pizza, he had all different types of demographics and all different cultural types of foods that he probably culturally appropriating, but he didn't have burritos from Taco Bell. He's probably a racist. Because it's the government shutdown, he's trying to secure the southern border, and he really hates the Hispanic people with the culture that they have, so tacos and burritos are not allowed to be at the White House when he buys food. But he bought it himself. It was a government shutdown. And he says, you know what? Hey, you know what? We got a football team coming. There's a bunch of college kids coming here. We need to feed them. Go out, buy a crap ton of burgers and pizza and French fries and everything, and bring them back. And you know what? Let's have that for the kids. That's the kind of guy Donald Trump is. I don't think I've ever seen a president act this way before. That is why I love this guy, because he is probably more down to earth and relatable to the average you and I, Joe Schmo, than any president that we've ever seen. I mean, you saw the pictures of, and I got to tour at the time of, I got to tour the White House when I was in college, and that was the time of George W. Bush. I got to see the White House, and they had like the pictures of him, and he was kind of sort of down to earth as well, and they had the picture. What they do is they have pictures of the president in the White House, the different hallways that you walk down, and it was really cool. I didn't even anticipate going. We were there for the Conservative Political Action Conference, and we knew somebody who gives tours through the White House, and they just gave about 5 of us the White House tour. And then we got to see the media room as well, the press room. But it was really cool. But we got to go through and look in the Oval Office. But then as you walk down the hallways, they had the pictures of the president, the current president there. And it was pictures of George W. Bush. And it was pictures of him like in his work garments down at the ranch. And he was carrying a chainsaw as he was cutting trees. And he was in his cowboy hat. And I mean, they made him look very down to earth, and that was the kind of guy that he was. Now, I never obviously met him, but I saw the pictures of him. But Donald Trump, being the business guy, and you hear the stories about how he ran his business and how he was down on the ground floor of the construction talking to all the workers as well. Multi-billionaire kind of guy down there talking to the average worker that's doing the construction for his projects. Then he buys, $1,000 plus worth of fast food with Wendy's and McDonald's and Domino's Pizza to go to the White House for college kids because he knows they like that kind of stuff. And it was really cool. That's the kind of guy Donald Trump is. And then at the same time, you know what? It's because of the government shutdown. I'm going to feed these kids so they can still come here. I'm going to pay for it out of my own pocket. And oh, by the way, Republicans working really well together. So there you go. The update from Donald Trump. Absolutely love the guy. This is the kind of president that we have. This is why we enjoy him so much. 316-721-8255. 316-721-TALK. Give me a call on the ABC Recycling Hotlines this morning. What's a priority for you? The legislative session, now that we're kicked off, I want to focus the majority of the show on that topic today. What do you want to see done in the state of Kansas? There are a few very interesting bills. For example, one of them, Senate Bill SB number 8, has to do with the Second Amendment. Oh, yeah, right off the bat, we have a more conservative legislature in both the House and the Senate, and right off the bat they end up having a Second Amendment bill not in a good way. Not in a good way. It's actually more restrictions, more regulations on the guns and Second Amendment. We'll talk about that today. There is by the way, did you see this? This is from Cake TV. Anybody, show of hands, anybody watch The Bird Box on Netflix? I'm a big fan of the show, or the movie. It had Sandra Bullock in it. It was really good. I liked it. It had a lot of very strong religious connotations to it, really strong message, kind of a horror flick-ish, but it was really, really good. But it was, there's these entities or demonic things or whatever floating around, and if you look at them, then they make you go crazy and make you kill yourself, and that's the whole thing. So you have to stay blindfolded the whole time, and you have to survive with crazy people who are in mental institutes who actually didn't die when they saw it because it made them crazy, but then if you look at it, then you die. So pretty much if you open your eyes, or if you don't have the sun covered or the light covered or whatever, then you die, and it's a very creepy kind of movie like that. Well, now apparently there's a Bird Box challenge to blindfold yourself and drive your vehicle. Yeah, not the brightest, but out of Layton, Utah, police in northern Utah say a 17-year-old girl who crashed her car was attempting the Bird Box challenge. It happened Monday afternoon, and Layton officials told KTVX TV that the 17-year-old decided to try and challenge while driving a 16-year-old passenger. She reportedly pulled her beanie over her eyes and immediately lost control of the vehicle, crashing into one with an oncoming traffic and hit another vehicle at a light pole. So there you go. Now we have, because people can't enjoy movies and enjoy the entertainment value that they actually are, they have to now try it because they think it's very cute, and now they're going to put people in harm's way. This is going from the condom snorting challenge, from the Tide Pod eating challenge, from the hot coil challenge, where you put your forearm under the hot coils of your stove because people challenge you and dare you. And I guess I get it, because when you get triple dog dared, you're not allowed to back away from it, and you have to do it. At the same time, you're idiots. Can I just say that? Let's use some common sense, please. This is my generation. Again, I apologize. Almost. I mean, she's 17. I'm not quite that young anymore. So maybe it's the new generation coming up, but apparently they're just as non-bright as my generation. So we feel for them, and hopefully nobody got severely harmed in this situation. And hopefully we don't hear any more stories about the Bird Box Challenge, putting blindfolds over you while you try to drive like they do in the movie because you want to be just like movie people, and that's really dumb and very stupid. But welcome into the 21st century. Welcome in 316-721-8255. Let's take a break. When we come back, we got lots to get to. Your phone calls as well, by the way. We have a lot of guests today. The entire 8 o'clock hour is pretty much full with guests. I want to spend some time with Ty Masterson, State Senator, and Jake LaTurner, our State Treasurer and candidate for the Senate seat. Bryan Frye coming in at 7:30. But until then, I want to hear from you. What's important to you? What's your priorities? We got a lot to get to over the next couple days as the session has officially kicked off. What is going to come out of this madness and craziness in Topeka? The media starting to realize they might not get their entire full agenda that they've been hoping for with a Democrat governor. We'll do that when we come back. 20 minutes past the hour. Good Tuesday morning to you. This is The Voice of Reason. Stay here.
You're listening to The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Ag News, Mid-America Ag Network. I'm Craig Mead. Well, as we all know, the East Coast continues to recover from the hurricanes of 2018. Pork Checkoff Public Relations Director Claire Masker says pig farmers have made significant contributions to North Carolina food banks.
Hurricanes Michael and Florence were really devastating to parts of eastern North Carolina. And they were still recovering from their hurricane a couple years ago as well in those areas. And so what we did was partnered with Smithfield Foods as well as North Carolina Pork. And as a part of the 2019 Hands Across America, made a 42,000-pound pork product donation to the food bank of Central and Eastern North Carolina. And that totals over 168,000 meals that will go to help those people who are still recovering from the hurricanes that happened this fall in North Carolina. And what's great about it, too, is that food bank serves those people that were hard hit, but also where they were hard hit is where a lot of the pigs are raised. So those pig farmers in those areas were able, not only to step up and give back to people in their state, but people in their communities as well.
She says it's not rare to see pig farmers take an active role in their communities and giving back to those communities.
Yeah, producers and pig farmers from across the U.S. giving back to their communities is just a part of who they are. I think we hear all these wonderful stories of producers just stepping up every time someone needs something in their community, whether it's by a product donation or serving on the school board, or coaching a Little League team. We know that farmers across the U.S. step up when needed and step up even, without being asked. They just do it.
Visit the Real Pig Farming social media platforms for more details. Ag News, Mid-America Ag Network.
When I said on the campaign trail that I'm running to be the education governor, I meant it. 2019 brings a new governor to the state of Kansas, and newly elected Governor Laura Kelly is set to address the state. Join us right here on the Big Talker KQAM at 6:30 this Wednesday as we give you live coverage of the State of the State Address 2019. What will we see come out of the Kansas government this year? It's the State of the State Address Wednesday at 6:30 right here on KQAM, and it's brought to you by Augusta Flight Center, Countryside Motors, Phil's Coins, Davis Liquor Outlet, and Heartland Avionics, JD Aviation.
Whatever your business, count on EMC Insurance, because our business is protecting your business. EMC Insurance Companies has the knowledge and expertise to provide you with the right insurance coverage from EMC. In Newton, call Fuquay Insurance at 283-0800.
Pure Talalay Bliss Latex mattresses from Derby Mattress. You consumers have validated what the experts have already known. Pure Talalay Bliss Latex mattresses outlast the memory foams, and Derby Mattress customers have reported back the best night's sleep ever. Cooler, better, more comfortable sleep, and right now at Derby Mattress, with the purchase of your Pure Talalay Bliss Latex mattress, a free basic adjustable base. Simmons Beauty Rest and Serta Eye Comfort on sale now too. Derby Mattress, 105 South Baltimore in Derby.
Genuine starts at Schmidt & Sons. This is Leroy the Tractor Man from Schmidt & Sons. There's one easy way to keep your AGCO equipment productive all year. That's with genuine preventive maintenance parts from AGCO. Whether it's a combine, tractor, hay products, tillage, or planting equipment, by using genuine AGCO replacement parts, you get the promise of maximum performance and increased uptime. Did you know you can purchase the parts you need for the upcoming year and have no payments and no interest charge for 180 days with a minimum order of $1,000? With an AGCO Plus charge card, it's just that simple, and we can help you with the application. You can always use those preventive maintenance parts like oil, filters, DEF, batteries, ground engaging parts, just to name a few. This is a super program. Come to Schmidt & Sons in Winfield or Mount Hope and take advantage of the program, or find us on the web at schmittinc.com.
Just the turning on the charm with a tractor in each arm. Down at Schmidt & Sons.
Attention, co-op members. In conjunction with Countryside Motors in Wellington, all co-op members and their families qualify for additional rebates on Chevrolet, Buick, Hustler turf equipment, and Polaris vehicles. This exclusive fleet rebate program is only being offered by Countryside Motors in Wellington, Kansas. Offers are not being published to the general public. They are available to co-op members in Kansas or Oklahoma. For full details, contact Countryside Motors in Wellington at 620-326-7433 or online at countrysidemotors.net.
Wichita's home for talk radio. This is the Big Talker, 1480 AM and 102.5 FM, KQAM.
25 minutes past the hour. Hey, welcome into the program. It's a Tuesday morning. Great to have you along for the ride on radio, on TV, on YouTube, on TuneIn app, whatever you want to listen to, watch. It doesn't really matter. We're all over the place. We are back on TV today, KGPT TV, channel 2610. If you have the local cable channels or the local antenna channels, just turn it on, 26.10. You can watch us live there, or you can just go onto YouTube. I know a lot of people wake up and have their phone or their tablets or whatever with the notification, hey, KQAM's live, baby. All you got to do, by the way, you can subscribe to it to watch that. If you go to KQAM Radio or go to youtube.com, find KQAM Radio, and you subscribe to the page every morning when we go live, you'll get a notification saying that we're live, and you click on it, and poof, there we are. I get to wake you up, and I love doing that. So welcome in, 316-721-8255. This half hour, The Voice of Reason, brought to you by Lamar's Donut and Coffee Shop. I know you're getting ready for the day. You're trying to wake up, sipping on your coffee, heading into work, and figuring out how can I get going for the day. Well, you can be a rock star today. Surprise your coworkers, surprise your employer, your employees, and bring a dozen donuts of Lamar's. It's a great way to start each and every morning. They have 3 locations in town that's convenient for you. Just south of Rock and Kane 96, one at Tyler and Mays, the other at Harry on the east side of Hillside. It is Lamar's Donuts and Coffee Shop. Try them. You'll definitely like them. Lamar's Donuts and Coffee Shop online at lamars.com. Make sure to go check those guys out. 316-721-8255. I've been searching through, by the way, these Senate bills. Good golly. With the state Senate, there are 2 bills that have kind of stuck out we'll talk about here in just a bit, as one of them refers to the Second Amendment. The other one refers to the qualifications and requirements for social programs in the state of Kansas and changing those requirements. My guess, as there is no sponsor on that bill, my guess is that they're trying to loosen up that girdle a little bit and trying to not have as many work requirements for the requirements or the stipulations to receive social programs in Kansas. That's the way we're starting off this legislative session. For whatever reason, and I don't get it, we won more Republican seats in the legislature, both in the House and in the Senate, even without the Senate even having elections. We had one special election that Richard Hildebrand won in District Number 1, and he's in there as a Republican. And then we had a couple Republicans or a couple individuals that ended up leaving the Senate, and we got to put some new ones in there, and they're still Republicans. So we actually went more conservative in the Senate as well. But the Democrats, for whatever reason, thinking that because a Democrat governor's in place now, that they have the momentum, and they're proposing tons of bills to get rid of everything we've been working so hard for over the last few years. So we'll talk about all that in just a bit here. But let's go to the phone, shall we? The ABC Recycling Hotlines. Line number 1, let's go to it. Good morning. What's your name?
My name is Eddie.
Hey, good morning, Eddie. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. What I want for this station out of the state is I want tougher crime bills. I want them to build more prisons I want them to give longer jail sentences. I want them to forget about all this parole business. A criminal, when he commits a criminal act, should be locked up for a certain period of time, period. Whether it's 1 year, 30 days, or whatever it is, no parole. And I'm afraid this whole damn country's going, oh, if you commit a crime, oh, that's okay. And we're just going downhill fast.
Sure. Well, we have gone, you're right. I mean, in society, we've really gone from the punishment side of, hey, you committed a crime, now it's time to punish you, to oh, well, you know what? It's the emotional rehabilitation. Let's just think that we're going to give you another chance and talk to you about it, and then say that you understand whether you would do or not. But if you say you do, then let's get you back out there and try it all over again. So you're right. We've kind of gone away from the harsh punishments of, hey, you know what, you did something really stupid. Yeah, let's rehabilitate and let's teach you not to do that, but let's also remind you that we're here to punish you as well. And we have to find that happy balance. So you're saying more crime enforcement, more law enforcement to be able to get them down and be able to actually punish individuals. And I'm right there with you. Parole, yeah, good behavior is only good if you're getting out. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's a whole issue there. Eddie, appreciate it very much. Got to take a bottom of the hour break. I like that idea. There you go. Something different than the usual tax rates and spending, but the crime. We'll talk about that when we come back. Stay right here. This is The Voice of Reason.
Now back to the KQAM News Desk.
All eyes in Washington will be on the Senate Judiciary Committee this morning as Attorney General nominee William Barr takes a seat for the first day of his confirmation hearings. The Russia probe expected to be a major topic. Following the Washington Post report that President Trump has kept details of his private talks with Russia's Vladimir Putin away from even his top staff members, Democratic lawmakers are discussing issuing a subpoena for the notes taken by the president's interpreter, New York Democratic Congressman Elliot Engel.
The subpoena is always there as a tool that we can use, and I like to tell people that it is absolutely our right according to the Constitution, and we feel it's something that we should be doing and should let the American people know what's going on.
Justice Department figures released this morning show the Environmental Protection Agency has hit a 30-year low in the number of pollution cases referred for criminal prosecution. On Wall Street, stock futures dropped into negative territory after J.P. Morgan shares fell on a poor earnings report. I'm Michael Toscano.
All money managers might seem the same, but while some give their clients cookie-cutter portfolios, Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to your goals and needs. Some only call when they have something to sell. Fisher calls regularly, so you stay informed. And while some advisors are happy to earn commissions whether you do well or not, Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when you do better. In other words, we're on your side. Maybe that's why most of our clients come from other money managers. So if you're in or nearing retirement, talk with us and find out why investors are switching to and staying with Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments, clearly better money management. Investments in securities involve the risk of loss. Visit us at FisherInvestments.com to find out what we can do for you.
Kansas Mid-America Network News. Good Tuesday. An arbitrator has found that a Salina military school failed to supervise its cadets and intentionally inflicted emotional distress in 2014 on a bullied 11-year-old student who had been tied together with his harasser in public as punishment. The boy was later allegedly raped and sodomized by his harasser in a dorm room. A $369,175 arbitration award last month against St. John's Military School and its endowment fund was made public yesterday. Democrats in 7 states are celebrating capturing governors' offices previously held by Republicans. New Democratic chief executives took office yesterday in red-leaning Kansas and solidly blue Illinois. Kansas' Laura Kelly and Illinois' J.B. Pritzker were the last 2 new Democratic governors to be sworn in after last year's midterm elections. Mid-America Network News.
Broadcasting from the Rusty Eck Ford Studios.
No payments till 2020. Only at Rusty Eck Ford.
Family owned, customer friendly. This is the Big Talker, KQAM.
Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Maize, your one-stop shop to keep you comfortable as the coldest months of the season make their way to Kansas. Something for everyone that you might be needing this time of year. From many forms of heaters, ice melt, snow shovels, insulation kits for sealing up those drafts in doors and windows, and bird feeders and feed to keep the feathered friends happy this winter. Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Maize. We're much, much more than just a hardware store. Shrug off that cold this winter with Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Maize, where we take pride in serving you.
Mark Collier at Collier Allstate knows mayhem can happen at any time in Kansas. Whether you live in the city, at one of Kansas's great small towns, or out in the Great Plains, Mark and Allstate will protect you from the effects of mayhem. Home, health, life, or business, Mark and his great staff will help you find the best protection. Mayhem is guaranteed to come. Let the Mark Collier Agency help you through it. Mark Collier, the Collier Agency, 204 North Main in Goddard. Give them a call at 316-413-4014 and on Facebook at Collier Allstate.
Wichita's Big Talker is KQAM. Catch Andy Hoosier morning 6 to 9. Mike Gallagher 9 to noon. The Dana Show live noon till 2. Dave Ramsey 2 to 5. And Joe Pags 5 to 8. Wichita's Big Talker is KQAM.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, some patchy fog, mostly sunny and 50. Tonight, partly cloudy and 30. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy and 43. Chance of rain tomorrow night, mostly cloudy and 32. Sunny and 48 Thursday. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 6:35, it's currently 24 degrees.
Call the Voice of Reason now on the ABC Recycling phone lines at 721-8255. This is the Big Talker, KQAM. Keeping reason in the world of politics.
But if you're really angry, why in the first place are you not frustrated and angry at the fact that you have to spend $250 to $600 of your own cash to be able to provide resources in the classroom?
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Hey, welcome into it. Great to have you along for the ride on a Tuesday morning. It is the Post Monday. I know Monday's the hardest day to get through. We're here to help you get started on a Tuesday morning. Welcome into it. 36 minutes past the hour. 316-721-8255. 316-721-TALK. Give us a call on the ABC Recycling hotlines. I'd love to hear from you. Eddie, you brought up a good point, and I didn't have a whole lot of time to respond to your comment about the whole prisons and expanding more prisons. I don't know where we're at, but I know we were talking about still the contracts that have the... And it was funny because the left side of the aisle in Kansas, the Democrats, they were so angry that we were privatizing prisons and that we were building private prisons, which wasn't the case. All we had done was privatize the contracting to build the prison, but it was still a state prison, a state penitentiary. It was fun because I should do it again. I need to do it again. But last year I got to tour through the Hutchinson Corrections Facility and see everything that goes on there. And I have to tell you that I still think, and if President Trump wanted to, and if he wanted to do these reforms in the corrections facilities, that we need to take up the idea of what we've done here in Kansas and really pick the brain of Sam Brownback, which is still working at the federal level as the religious religious freedoms ambassador for the UN. And I really think that the federal government, and if we want to do this on a federal level, we need to pick the brains of Sam Brownback. And even many Democrats admit that what he did with prison reform and with the corrections facilities was absolutely spot on. They have the mentorship programs. They have different classes that they can take. I mean, they have the private companies that come in and work and allow the labor of these individuals, and they can work and they can start building structure. What I found out, what I realized when I went through and I toured the corrections facilities at the state correction facility, and I toured through this whole thing, one thing really came to mind because I got to sit in. There was a class going on how to get your licensing for plumbing. And there was about, 6 or 7 guys in there, and they were listening to the professor, and they had opportunities to work with tools, and they had opportunities to practice, and then they could be a licensed plumber by the time they walked out. And it was really cool. But what I found out was that the majority of the individuals that were in prison, the reason that they were there and the reason they had done the things that they had done was because of the lack of structure in their life. Now, there is, unfortunately, a side of the aisle, a political ideology today that tries to attack structure. They don't like the status quo. They don't like the way things are done because it's been done for so many years, and it works, so therefore we continue it on. But, I mean, in structure, I mean, you wake up at a certain time. You get yourself to work every day by the time you're supposed to get there. You focus on the task at hand. You do your job rather than just trying to just fool around and not actually do the work. You have structure. You pay the bills when you're supposed to pay the bills. You find a way to pay the bills when it's really tight, which is a very difficult thing to do. You hold a steady job. You take care of the family. You realize you are not the main focus of the life anymore, but it's taking care of your wife and your kids and your family. That's the kind of structure that society has. And now we have a political system, unfortunately, that I think has contributed to this, of telling you, you don't need to do that. You don't need to have the responsibility. You fool around with a girl, you get her pregnant, you know what, you just go to the clinic and get it taken care of, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. We just get rid of the responsibility. Hey, it's fine. You have a lack of money. You can spend it on whatever you want to. Have you ever noticed individuals that are on social programs, that are on welfare, that are on food stamps, they have like the really nice done nails and they have the brand new hair. And it was actually funny at the legislative session or the forum last week on Wednesday when we went. We noticed a couple of these individuals who had advocated for expansion of Medicaid, expansion of programs. They mentioned while they were speaking that they were on social programs as well, and it looked like they just came out of the salon and the spa day, because what little money they do have, they spend it on that kind of stuff because we're not being fiscally responsible. We take away the responsibility, and that's the lack of structure that we now have. But when you walk into these corrections facilities, we have these programs where you can have the labor jobs there, and the workers, the inmates, work, and they can make a little bit of money. You get free labor out of them, or else you get people complaining that it's slavery, which I think is stupid. I like the days when you go back and you had them actually working on the side of the street, cleaning up and working on the railroads and that sort of thing. And because you're in prison, that you're going to do the labor force. I love that idea. That's not slavery. That's not whatever. I love that idea that if you're bad for society, then you should be doing extensive labor to compensate for that while you're in prison. Work yourself to the bone during the day, and then drop dead at night, on your bunk because you're exhausted. I like that idea, and I think we need to go back to a lot of that. But we have that to some degree in the system. And what they do is they pay them, like 20 cents an hour sort of thing, and they build up that, and they can set money aside for when they get out. Smart move, so they don't have to go back to a life of crime to compensate because they're back on they're back to square one. But they can also buy amenities in prison as well. And it's kind of an incentivized program to where if they do really well, then they can buy things. And if they start acting up, then they get things taken away. But it's the structure. You wake up, you work, you had the certain time for lunch, you have the certain time when you eat, you have the certain time for you to rest. And it's the structure that's in there. And I don't know if you're aware or not, but the state of Kansas actually is very good on not having people being readmitted back into the state programs again once they come out because of our mentorship programs. A lot of it very religious based, a lot of it looking up towards individuals who have already been through it and that have turned their life around. And I think it's absolutely phenomenal. Because we have to remember it's not just the punishment, but it is the rehabilitation. But as you mentioned, Eddie, in the last call, that we have opportunities to do something good to where we can come out a better person, actually have some foundation under us, and be able to move forward with a new life. And if we can do that, then heck, I think that's a win-win. That's a success. And if it does take more prisons in the state, then that's what we need to do. And I know that we got heat for it for whatever reason, because Democrats don't listen to the full story, is that they get upset that we had a privatized prison that we were discussing, what was it, last session or the year before that, when it wasn't a privatized prison. It was a state corrections facility that was privatized to a contractor to build it. That's all it was. But because of that, the media runs with it saying, oh, we have privatized prisons. Who knows what's going to go on in there? Look at that, all this corruption going on with the free market capitalist system and those privatized prisons. Unbelievable, but appreciate that. That's a great chance. We're going to actually, hopefully, I have an option or an opportunity maybe to talk to one of the wardens for the corrections facilities, and we may do that here very soon to talk about the state prisons and how we can actually work to fix those later on. We'll do that a little bit later. 316-721-8255. The media going absolutely bonkers yesterday with the fact that Governor Laura Kelly is officially new governor. There's about 75 people at her swearing-in ceremony. She made a few comments about how it's a new chapter in Kansas and how we're really excited to change the tone. And I love how she said she wants to work in a bipartisanship way. She wants to work bipartisanship on many different levels. And I made the comment on so I wasn't going to do it this year. My New Year's resolution was I wasn't going to debate on social media. But again, I ended up making a comment, and everybody lost their minds because I made a comment on one of the media Facebook pages. But I said, I promise you that in her mind, the bipartisanship way means that you bring on moderate Republicans that are not in any way or sort conservative, that vote predominantly with Democrats, but because they have the R in front of their name, she says that she's working in a bipartisanship manner to listen to all sides. But I guarantee you that there will not be a single conservative Truth Caucus member in her panels when she listens to different ideas. I guarantee you there will not be an actual conservative that comes up on her panel and says, hey, maybe this isn't a good idea. Hey, maybe we should do this. Maybe we shouldn't do this. I guarantee you there will not be a single conservative actually on that board. They will try. She will try and say it's a bipartisan manner. But as you saw before, she was putting her cabinet together. The Republican cabinet members were from former Republican governors like Bill Graves and some of these others that were very moderate, and their cabinets were very moderate, and people that worked them were very moderate, and they predominantly supported the coexisting of working together with Democrats and letting them have everything they want to, and then saying that because we jumped on board, now we're somehow working together. But she spoke yesterday with the big banner behind her saying equality, education, and opportunity. Not sure what all that means, but fantastic. Equality, I don't know. Apparently we don't have equality in the state. Apparently we don't. I wonder when she signed, which I'm guessing she probably signed it yesterday or this morning, the executive order to put back the super duper special rights for individuals that live different lifestyles, because we apparently have the right to discriminate against them if we don't have the super duper special rights for them. I wonder if the state of California will repeal the ban for state-funded travel to the state of Kansas. Is that what we're concerned? Hey, Californians not allowed to come here on state-funded money, so we better start putting those powers back in place, or those protections back in place, so that way we can allow Californians to come back here. I was okay with Californians not coming to Kansas, but, I mean, at least funded through the government, because government folk in California are just nuts. If you're coming on your own accord, then welcome to it, because I realize you want to get the hell out of California. I understand that message. But the banner, equality, education, and opportunity. I get the education thing. She wants more money. I get it. She wants more opportunity. I don't know what that means other than maybe job growth, which the only way you're going to get job growth is by, cutting taxes and getting rid of government oversight and regulation. That's what you're not going to do, so you shouldn't have that banner there. But then the equality part as well. So that was her banner. As she says, we're turning a new chapter in the history of Kansas and what we're going to focus on. We'll see exactly what her details are tomorrow with the State of the State address. But the media having a frenzy, having a heyday yesterday with her being sworn in and the comments she's making, but they're starting to realize that it may be a challenge to get through their agenda, as we still have a more conservative legislature that they don't like. They're not going to like, and it's going to be very difficult for them to actually get what they want to be done, even with a Democrat governor. So we'll have to see what happens. We'll see how this all plays out. Medicaid expansion, I don't know. I'm still on the fence on whether I realistically think it's going to happen. Obviously, I don't want it to happen, but realistically, is it going to happen or not? I'm still up in the air. I really don't know. We did pass it 2 years ago, and Governor Brownback vetoed it. Thank God. We're about 5 or 6 or 7 more conservatives in the House, which means I really don't think it's going to go through the House. But with the Democrat whipping, with the bipartisanship measure, with that mentality of we need to work in a bipartisanship way, you never know. And now we don't have that safety net of knowing that the governor's going to veto it if it gets to their desk, which means we have to have a front line that's not going to waver. We got one chance, baby. One chance. Maybe 2 at the Senate, but I think the Senate would maybe pass it as well. Susan Wagle, when we had her on last week, made that really good comment, was the fact that, we did pass it in the Senate a couple years ago, and that was very tough. So hopefully she can fight that. Hopefully she can set the tone and encourage the Senate not to vote on Medicaid expansion. We'll have to see. But the media just googly-eyed at the fact that now the Republicans are out of leadership in the governorship, and there's a Democrat in there. They did interview Governor Jeff Collier, and he said that he did not have a single bad day as governor. He enjoyed it very much. We appreciate him for his service and what he did. Didn't always agree with everything that he did, but we appreciate what he did. And now, different tide. I keep thinking, I don't know. She got sworn yesterday, and since then we've had icy cold weather here in Kansas. I think there's a correlation. 316-721-8255. According to Cake TV, her victory last year drew national attention, partly because she was defeated. She defeated Kansas Secretary of State Chris Kobach as being a staunch conservative who touted an endorsement from President Donald Trump. That's what the media is running away with here. Not the fact that, it was maybe a poorly run campaign, or maybe that many people were on the fence with it, or that she only won 9 counties out of the 199 counties in Kansas. We have 200 counties, and she won 9 of them, and she won the governor's race. That's not being told in the media. No, it's the fact that he was a conservative, and he was a pro-Trumper, and he had Donald Trump come and rally for him, and she still beat him. And that shows that Kansas is turning the tide, that people don't like Donald Trump, apparently. People don't like conservatives, apparently, and that she should get everything she wants to. That's the way the media is going to play this entire session. She's going to ask for things. The legislature is going to say, hell no. And then the media is going to say, well, we elected her as governor. The people wanted her. You better start giving her what she wanted. That's the way they're going to play this. I guarantee you. Watch it. Mark my words. Andy's prediction of the day is what we're going to see through this whole session. Oh, yeah, we have a new sounder for that, too. Andy's predictions.
Andy's predictions.
Maybe we should work on that a little bit. Got to take a break. 10 minutes at the top of the hour. This is The Voice of Reason. Stay here.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Market information, Mid-America Ag Network. Monday was a mixed but mostly lower day in the ag futures markets. Corn managed to rally just a bit before the close and finished in green territory, but not by much. March corn up a quarter cent, 378.5. May corn up a quarter cent at 387. Kansas City wheat was negative. March down 5.5 at 4.99. May Kansas City wheat down 5 3/4 at 5.10 1/4. Soybeans struggled all through the day. March soybeans down 6 3/4 at 903.5. May beans down 6.5 at 917 1/4. March soybean meal $2.80 lower at 311.80. May was down $3 at 315.70. Same story with bean oil. March down 1 point, 28.40. May bean oil down 2 points at 28.68. So not a lot of positives when it comes to soybeans or Kansas City wheat. Corn finished with some fractional gains on the day. Taking a look at the livestock complex, kind of the same issue there. We saw a couple of contracts that were green. Those were the first 2 live cattle contracts, but everything else was down. February live cattle up 45 at 125.42. April up 30 at 126.67, but all the later live cattle months were down. Feeder cattle down all the way across. January down 127 at 144.85. March down 50 at 144.40. Hogs were way off. February hogs down 80 at 61.85. April hogs down 52 at 66.82. So all in all, kind of a tough day for the ag futures markets. One other exception was cotton, though. Cotton was up. March cotton up 50 points at 72.99, while May cotton was up 48 points at 74.51. So there were a couple of bright spots in the ag futures markets as we wrapped up on Monday. Gold was on the upside late in the afternoon. February gold up $2.30 at $1,291.80 an ounce. Market information from Mid-America Ag Network. 2018 was a tough year for agriculture. What will 2019 bring? Will there be an end to the trade war with China? How about another record corn or soybean crop? How can livestock producers expand export markets? Mid-America Ag Network takes a look at all this and more. Join me, Craig Mead, for Ag Outlook 2019, brought to you by the Kansas Wheat Commission and the Kansas Corn Growers Association. Ag Outlook 2019, right here.
Join us Saturday at 7 a.m. right here on KQAM, brought to you by PNB Insurance and the Comark Energy Co-op.
There are 2 things you can count on every winter. 1, you can count on it getting colder. And 2, you can count on your Cenex fuel distributor to get you through the season without equipment problems. Our Cenex premium diesel fuels are seasonally enhanced to give you optimal performance and protection for your fleet or farm equipment. We can also advise you on how to prep and blend down your tanks to avoid gelling and ice problems. So for a trouble-free season, count on Cenex.
See OK Co-op in Kiowa, Kansas. No one wakes up and plans for a car accident, but there are some things you should know about Norris Collision Center of Goddard in the event that happens, like the fact that Norris Collision Center doesn't charge a storage fee when your vehicle is brought there, the fact that the tow truck that arrives at the accident scene will take your vehicle to Norris Collision upon request, and the fact that Norris Collision Center of Goddard will provide you with rental car assistance, big city quality with small town service. 794-1161, Norris Collision Center of Goddard.
Mike here at Rusty Eck Ford with some exciting news. Our year-end offer is now extended till January 31st. That means you can still come pick out a new Ford and make no payments till 2020. That's right, drive it for all of 2019 and make no payments until 2020. Check out our nice selection at rustyeckford.com or come in person and take a look. When you decide, we'll set it up with no payments till 2020. Hey, it's a new year and you can have a happy new car. New cars, trucks, or SUVs with no payments till 2020 through January 31st. This offer is only available at Rusty Eck Ford in Wichita Town East and Kellogg. We're Rusty Eck Ford proud. Dealer retains rebates, Ford credit, interest accrues from date of sale. All negative equity paid in full. Max payment assistance up to $500. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Come visit us at Rusty Eck Ford or go to rustyeckford.com.
ABC Recycling pays top dollar for your scrap metal. Is your New Year's resolution to purge your place of stuff? If it's metal, don't even think about sending it to the landfill before you talk with ABC Recycling. They want to see what you have. With years of experience, ABC Recycling has gained the trust of businesses and individuals as seasoned recyclers. Bring your scraps to ABC Recycling and they'll give it a new purpose while you get a positive impact on your bottom line and your pocket. Visit us just west of Hydraulic and Gilbert or online at abcrecyclingllc.com.
News, weather, and information on local shows. Visit us online at kqamradio.com.
Minutes at the top of the hour, wrapping up hour number one. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. Great to have you along for the ride today. It's a fun one today. We got so much to talk about. By the way, we are killing it on the YouTube feeds today. Check it out, youtube.com. Find KQAM Radio. Subscribe to the page. You'll get the notification every morning on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer, whatever, coming up saying, oh, hey, KQAM's live. But check it out. We are rocking it. A lot of people jumping on there this morning. Thank you so much. And appreciate that very much. Spread it all around. Oh, by the way, hold on here as I slide across the studio. As you know, behind me, and we're going to start working on some new decorations behind the studio. If you are watching TV on KGPT TV or if you are on YouTube, we're going to start redecorating the studio a little bit. Change it up. You know, I like redecorations every once in a while. Changing the flavor. But as you know, we have the Trumpy bear behind us. Yeah, Donald Trump's bear. But I also have, we got this yesterday that's in studio, and it is, remember the whole cafefe deal with Donald Trump? Still don't know what that means, cafefe, but Donald Trump's cafefe. There is some coffee that is actually Donald Trump. It's called Cafefe, Making Coffee Great Again, the MAGA Blend Dark Roast for Deplorables by Deplorables. And I had this sitting in studio so you can see this behind me, but kind of entertaining. Never knew they came out with this stuff. I tell you what, Donald Trump, the true, real capitalist, by providing opportunity for new products online each and every day. So we'll have fun with that a little bit later as well. Before the legislative session began here in Kansas, there was a South Central Kansas delegation to be able to find a unified delegation for all of South Central Kansas in the House and the Senate to have a South Central Kansas delegation leader to kind of lead on what the direction is, the agendas they want to have. And we're not having that this year. I guess usually we do. I don't know who actually ran that before. But this year, apparently, we're not because there was some bickering As an organization intended to give the South Central Kansas a unified voice, and the legislature got off to a divided start. For the first time in its history, the South Central Kansas delegation, legislative delegation, will head to Topeka without a leader for the opening of the annual session. That came after a heated debate on whether enough members showed up on Thursday last week to select a chair and vice chair, and accusations that Republicans could be trying to steal the lead position from Democrats, who are due to have one of their members rotate into that leadership position this year. Let me tell you something. I'm pretty sure that there are more Republicans than Democrats in our South Central Kansas delegation in both chambers, and I think that whoever has the majority of the seats should get the leadership position. That should just be it. Rotate? The hell are you talking about? It's your turn. No, it's your turn. We got to be fair now. No. Look, if the majority of people want Republicans and we elected Republicans, then Republicans should take the leadership positions. I'm just saying. Democrats, if you're in the minority, then, sorry, you're not going to have as loud of a voice. No, it's your turn now. Got to trade. Give me a break. Give me a break. We got some bills that are a bit concerning coming out of the state Senate that were proposed yesterday. We'll talk about those when we come back. Plus, the divide from partisanship in our state legislature. All that and more. Hour number 2. Stay here.
Joe and the guys at Carl's Goodyear, well, they are nice guys. That's the only way to describe them. Need new tires? Got you covered. Flat tire fixed? Done. Tune-up? Oil change? Brakes? Exhaust? Radiator? You get the idea. They do almost everything for your vehicle. They will also give you a ride when your car is in the shop. Nice guys who know auto repair, but above that, they know people and treat them like they would want to be treated. Carl's Goodyear, right on the corner of Market and Waterman, 264-5385.
Send your taste buds on an exciting flavor vacation at Hurricane Sports Grill. Indulge in Hurricane's made-to-order jumbo chicken wings with 35 fabulous sauces from our sauce bar, half-pound burgers, and savory tacos. With 20 beers on tap, including local crafts or your choice of Hurricane specialty cocktails, come and enjoy your favorite sport on any of our 30 TVs or call ahead for carry-out game day platters. Don't forget Hurricane's daily specials, including Monday's all-you-can-eat chicken wings. Hurricane Sports Grill, a fun-filled, family-friendly environment at 13th and Tyler.
This is a Steckline communication station, K273CX, FM 102.5, and AM 1480 KQAM, Wichita Proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by Phil's Coins, Kansas's largest coin dealer at 9344 West Central. Phil's Coins, buying, selling, and trading with honesty and integrity.
Good Tuesday morning. A man who was shot last week by Wichita police has died. Wichita police said yesterday that 29-year-old Jeffrey Morris of Wichita died from his injuries on Saturday. Police say Morris was shot Thursday when officers tried to arrest him on an outstanding warrant. Police say Morris intentionally backed into a car, then drove forward, causing officers to fear they could be run over or seriously hurt. The man that pled guilty last year to running over a Wichita police officer in 2017 has been sentenced. 32-year-old Justin Terrasas was sentenced yesterday to just over 28 years, which will run consecutively to an 11-year sentence in a case from Ellsworth County. In February of 2017, Officer Bryan and his partner were monitoring a house when Terrasas fled in an SUV and ran over Arterburn as he was attempting to place spike strips in the path of the vehicle. Arterburn, a 25-year police veteran, suffered chest, abdomen, and brain injuries. A federal judge has again delayed the fraud trial of Sedgwick County Commissioner Michael O'Donnell. The trial was set to begin January 29th, but has now been moved to February 25th. Attorneys agreed the trial would likely take 5 days. O'Donnell has been accused of fraudulently obtaining over $10,000 from his campaign accounts for his personal use. An indictment charges him with 23 counts of wire fraud and 3 counts of money laundering. About 37,000 customers in the Wichita area are getting a cut in their natural gas bills starting this month to pass along federal tax reductions approved about a year ago. Black Hills Energy customers in Wichita will see about a $7.30 reduction in their January gas bill. In total, the company is passing along about $1.7 million in annual savings to its customers. I'm Rick Everett from the news desk. Now to the sports desk and Doug Downs.
The Kansas City Chiefs certainly celebrated their first home playoff win in 25 years when they defeated the Colts this past weekend, but now all eyes are set on the New England Patriots, obviously one of the best teams in the AFC throughout the last several years. Andy Reid realizes what the task at hand is.
This isn't their first rodeo here, so they've done this a few times, and one of the greatest dynasties in the history of the game.
It took 20 points from sophomore guard Marcus Garrett and another 21 from LeGerald Vick for the Kansas Jayhawks to hold off to beat Texas last night 80-78 in Allen Fieldhouse. From the sports desk, I'm Doug Downs.
Whatever your business, count on EMC Insurance, because our business is protecting your business. EMC Insurance Companies has the knowledge and expertise to provide you with the right insurance coverage options. And when you insure your business with EMC, you receive the added value of our free loss control services, no matter the size of your company. Contact your local independent insurance agent and ask about insurance from EMC. In Wichita, call Signature Select at 266-6203. If you're a contractor
or a do-it-yourselfer,
you owe it to yourself to shop Croft Lumber of Heston.
Of course there's lumber.
And there's roofing and siding.
And the renowned custom covered cabinets.
Drywall and insulation. Just price Croft Lumber of Heston.
Chances are, if you price Croft Lumber, you'll be done shopping.
And free delivery within 50 miles. Croft Lumber of Heston. 800-736-4951. 800-736-4951. Online at kropflumber.com.
In Kansas, severe weather can come in an instant. Your home suffers every season from wind and hail. When disaster strikes, you need someone you can trust, someone local, someone like Morrison Roofing and Construction. Founded in Derby and serving South Central Kansas, the local experts at Morrison offer free estimates and emergency tarping. Don't trust your home to those storm chaser companies. Stick with the local experts. Morrison Roofing and Construction, 316-202-8000. That's 316-202-8000. Or visit them online at morrisonroofing.biz.
Here's the latest from the KQAM News Center.
All eyes in Washington will be on the Senate Judiciary Committee this morning as Attorney General nominee William Barr takes a seat for the first day of his confirmation hearings. The Russia probe expected to be a major topic. Following the Washington Post report that President Trump has kept details of his private talks with Russia's Vladimir Putin away from even his top staff members, Democratic lawmakers are discussing issuing a subpoena for the notes taken by the president's interpreter, New York Democratic Congressman Eliot Engel.
The subpoena is always there as a tool that we can use, and I like to tell people that it is absolutely our right according to the Constitution, and we feel it's something that we should be doing and should let the American people know what's going on.
Justice Department figures released this morning show the Environmental Protection Agency has hit a 30-year low in the number of pollution cases referred for criminal prosecution.
Brought to you by Jewelry Savers, conveniently located off K96 on Greenwich Road, the Kansas trusted jewelry source since 1971. Jewelry Savers.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, some patchy fog, mostly sunny and 50. Tonight, partly cloudy and 30. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy and 43. Chance of rain tomorrow night, mostly cloudy and 32. Sunny and 48 Thursday. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 7:06, it's currently 24 degrees.
Hey, it's Joe Pags. Join me live afternoons at 5 right here on the Big Talker, AM 1480, 102.5 FM, KQAM.
It's time for Reason.
I don't think we should just do it. Why? You're here illegally. You've broken the law. There's no reason to even give you an ID form in any way, shape, or form. Why would we do that? Why would we step out as a state and say, you know what? You're violating federal immigration law. That's even mentioned here in the bill. You're not allowed to get an ID unless you're applying for a limited driver's license. Then it's okay if you're violating federal law, and it'll still give you some form of ID.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Then I'll get on my knees and pray. We don't get fooled again. Don't get fooled again.
That's what I'm talking about. Welcome into the Voice of Reason, hour number 2 of the Voice of Reason, broadcasting live Live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas on the Big Talker, 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 at the FM side, KQAM. We are simulcasting on TV as well. KGPT TV, channel 2610. You can find that on your local antenna. You can also watch us live on YouTube, youtube.com. Find KQAM Radio. Subscribe to the page. A lot of people jumping on this morning. We dipped off a little bit for the 7 o'clock hour, but you're driving. So, hey, but welcome in. Go to youtube.com. Find KQAM Radio. We are all over the board today on a post-Monday. The Tuesday has begun, and welcome in. 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK. It is open lines to you for this half hour. On the ABC Recycling Hotlines is coming up at the bottom of the hour. We have Bryan Frye, Wichita City Council member, as he does every Tuesday, and look forward to chatting with him. In the 8 o'clock hour, I am so excited. As you know, we are officially underway with our legislative session 2019. We have our conservative legislature. We have our Democrat governor. We have Jake LaTurner, state treasurer, who will be joining us at 8 o'clock, also candidate for the U.S. Senate. Coming up in the 2020 race. Also, State Senator Ty Masterson will be joining us as well, and we'll chat with him about some of the legislative goodies as well. This half hour of the broadcast brought to you by Countryside Motors. They have the complete service and parts department for your Polaris or Hustler equipment. It's not just about selling cars. It's about the Polaris, Hustler equipment, and even their service and their complete service and parts department as well. Countryside Motors just down south in Wellington, or online at countrysidemotors.net. Again, countrysidemotors.net. So there are, first off, the media. Let's start off with this one. The media, even though they're giddy about the new governor in the state of Kansas, they are starting to recognize that it's going to be very difficult for them to, realize that they're going to get everything they want. It's not going to be as easy as what they talked about in the past. It's not going to be as simple as what they think it's going to be. They still have an uphill battle to go to advance some type of crazy left-wing liberal agenda. For example, they're starting to realize that as some of the new legislators got in there, they got sworn into office, and they went through some of the initiation yesterday. Ron Reichman, the House Speaker of the House Republican, made a comment to them. I urge you to take the long view. Tax policy doesn't overspend Kansas into a fiscal crisis. Safe havens for our most vulnerable and successful communities across our state, where families and local business owners, whether they live in Mission or in Meade, have the opportunity to thrive, was the message that he sent to them yesterday. Let's work together. Let's look at the long term. We cannot do this on a simple 1-year plan or a simple 2-year plan. It needs to be a long-term agenda. Senate Minority Leader Anthony Hensley, the Democrat, urging each one to take up political responsibility seriously without taking themselves too seriously. Republicans, Democrats, and the lone independent in the Senate should find common ground where they can find it, according to Anthony Hensley. I think that's cute. How cute. The finding common ground between Republicans and Democrats. You realize what he means there. Anthony Hensley, remember, this is the one that said that Brownback was a terrible human being, that the silence is deafening to Sam Brownback, because he did not make a comment about what was going on in the Carolinas at the time with the protesters and the white supremacists and everything going. His silence was deafening. That was the criticism that individuals like Anthony Hensley gave to Governor Brownback. These are the ones that are extreme progressives who would think that because we don't like to expand Medicaid, we're heartless, terrible jerks who hate poor people and sick people. That's who Anthony Hensley is. And now he's coming and saying, hey, we should not take each other seriously, and we should probably work together, and we should come together in a nice, happy little unison. You realize that he's really saying either get on board with what we want or you're not working together. Because that's the way Democrats roll. That's just the way it is. We have to remember there are some freshman elected officials in this year's legislature that are extremely fired up. There are some solid conservatives that are not going to go quietly if they end up losing a vote, if they try and say something on the floors that are not where they need to be. We have some really energized freshmen, and I'm really excited to see what they have to say. Tom Sawyer, House Minority Leader, Democrat from Wichita, said that there's a joint mission to address funding of K-12 public education, expansion of Medicaid eligibility, tragedy in the foster care system, tax fairness, and shortcomings in transportation infrastructure. Those are the agendas of the Democrats. And again, remember, between Anthony Hensley and between Tom Sawyer, between both those in the House and the Senate, they say, let's work together. Let's find that common ground. Let's move forward in a new chapter of Kansas. between the legislature and the Democrat governor, and we need to really focus on the issues like more funding for education. And if you don't, then you probably hate children. Between Medicaid eligibility expansion to where it's not just for the sick and the elderly, but it's for low-income individuals as well. We can bog down the system. We can make it very difficult for them to actually get treatment. And then we can raise the price of the tag on our budget spending so that way we can raise taxes as well. It's a beautiful system because that falls in right into the next part of tax fairness, where the rich really need to pay their fair share. Now, we read you the numbers yesterday between the fact that the top 20% of Americans pay 88% of all federal income taxes, and that really is the similarities here in Kansas as well, where the rich people pay a large portion of the taxes in the state, but they need to pay their fair share even more. They do. Yeah, they got to pay their fair, because 90% of all taxes in the country being paid by 20% of individuals, that's just not even fair. They need to pay 99%. They really need to pay their fair share. Bunch of stuffy jerks. This is how we find common ground. This is how we find it. Then I start looking at the Senate bills. And I know you're going to lose your minds. I get it. I'm sorry. These are the Senate bills that are in day number 1 of the state legislature. When it convened at 2 p.m. yesterday afternoon, the fact that we already had these on the ticket, Senate Bill number 8. A mandatory waiting period shall be imposed between the purchase and delivery of a firearm by a person and a retailer. The mandatory waiting period is 3 days, excluding weekends and legal holidays, upon completion of the record check, whichever occurs later. It's already begun. The battle has already begun. The fight for our Second Amendment has already begun, and now they want to put in that 3 day. I don't get it. I don't understand it. What's the point of a 3-day waiting period? What's the point? Now I get like you remember you try and buy your home and you have that 3-day rescission period. You know, it's a really big loan. You're going to be getting into debt. It's going to be hitting your credit score pretty harshly. It's going to be a big purchase. And, you know, you have that 3-day rescission period that the bank does, not the purchasing of the home. But if you're trying to get the mortgage, the bank has you do the 3-day rescission period, saying, hey, you're going to be taking out a large sum of money, and it's going to be accrued with interest, and you're going to have to pay the bank back, and you were approved for the loan, but do you really want to do this? Here's a 3-day rescission period. Think about it, and then let us know if you actually want to get into the debt this much. The banks are forced to do that based on federal law. When you buy a firearm, why do you need a 3-day rescission period? First off, the number of shootings, this is obvious. This is common sense. We have to regurgitate it for the slower part of the class, meaning the Democrats and the progressives. So we'll say it again, and we'll regurgitate ourselves all over again. The number of people that actually use a gun for a shooting or to commit crimes that legally purchase that gun is around like 5%. Like 5% of individuals that actually commit crimes with a firearm purchase that firearm legally. So you're affecting the 95% of Americans that purchase a firearm legally and saying, you know, it's a really big change. It's a really big drastic impact on your life. It's a really difficult thing to think about. I don't know. If you really need that firearm, maybe you should do some self-reflection, maybe sit back and do some kumbaya type of therapy, maybe you should do a little yoga, do a 3-day rescission period, really think if you want to purchase that firearm, and then maybe that 3 days will stop you from committing a crime because you're totally not going to plan out your crime before you do it. It's going to be on a whim, so we're going to stop you from being able to do that on a whim, and we're going to make you wait 3 days in order for you to get that gun. So by the time you get it, if you do want to commit that crime, then you'll even be more angry because you had to wait, and you're a very impatient kind of person, because that makes total sense in the world. And maybe you'll just say, it's not worth it. I'm not going to commit that crime because I have to now wait 3 days. I've been planning it for a month because I'm really depressed or something crazy is going on with my life, or I'm really angry at something, or I want to harm somebody. I've been really angry, but you know, that 3 days really made me cool off. Thanks, government. Like, how does that make any sense? This bill was sponsored and endorsed by Senator Aletha Faust-Godot, Democrat from Wichita, and that is Senate Bill number 8 with a 3-day waiting period for you to get your firearm when you purchase it. If you have like 30 guns in your home already and you want to purchase a handgun, are you going to have to wait that 3 days? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They see the Kool-Aid man busting through the wall right now. Oh, yeah. as they're giddy and excited about already trying to put on a 3-day waiting period for you to purchase that firearm. The other bill that I have not had a chance to read through all the way yet, it's like 23 pages long, and they cross out a whole lot of stuff, and they're changing a heck of a lot of it, but is the requirements. Senate Bill number 12, and maybe we can ask Ty Masterson about this in hour number 3 when he comes on, but Senate Bill 12 that is proposed as of yesterday is a bill to change the requirements for you to get get assistance, government assistance from social programs. Now, again, I have not been able to read through all of this, but there are a lot of different sponsors. Or no, there's no sponsor on this one. We don't know who's actually promoting this one. And all it does, and it says at the beginning, an act concerning public assistance relating to administration by the Kansas Department of Children and Families, eligibility requirements and limitations. My guess is that this bill tries to scratch out a lot of the work requirements and a lot of the difficult requirements that we put into place as Republicans under this bill is trying to repeal a lot of that. That's my. I could be wrong. That's my guess. Is that they're trying to repeal a lot of the work requirements and regulation or the stipulations in order for you to receive some sort of government assistance and benefits. That would be my guess. Which, again, just like the bills we read from the House last week, a few days ago, just like these two bills, and the very few bills that are actually open right now and that are being discussed, it shows for some reason, for whatever reason, the Democrats seem to be more energized at wanting to change things than Republicans right now. I said that I think we should have in day number 1, week number 1, a bill that's already should be discussed about eliminating sales tax on food. That's lower, at least lowering it. Lower it by 4%. Lower it by 3%, 2%. I don't care. Have a bill that says the sales tax on food is too damn high, and let's lower it. Let's get it to the governor's desk because she said, as a Democrat, that it was the fault of Brownback and that it's too high because it hurts low-income individuals, which you're absolutely right. Low-income individuals cannot afford food. So let's lower it. Let's eliminate the sales tax on food. But you're not going to do that, are you, Laura Kelly? But we have apparently enough time to write a bill for a 3-day waiting period to purchase a firearm. We apparently had the time to bicker about daylight savings time. We apparently have the time to bicker about whether Columbus Day should be Indigenous Peoples Day, but we don't have enough time to talk about sales tax on food. But Andy, we got to pay our debts. And you're going to pay your debts by that $50 million? Pennies compared to the state budget? $50-60 million that you would lose out on the sales tax on food because it's that important, right? Unbelievable. 316-721-8255. Let's go to the ABC Recycling Hotlines here. Line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
Hi, Andy. This is Helen.
Good morning, Helen. How are you?
I'm doing just great,
Good.
and I hope you are too. Well, God says He says that in Ecclesiastes chapter 3:16, and moreover I saw under the sun, which is on earth, a place of judgment, that wickedness was there. This is, our judicial system is so wicked, and it's the taxpayers, the law-abiding taxpayers, are being punished for more than the criminals are being punished.
Well, of course. I mean, in taxes, the rich people have to pay their fair share, and the low-income apparently don't have to pay any, so they don't have any skin in the game. When we put gun regulations and gun laws in there for like a 3-day waiting period, it only affects the law-abiding citizens, not affecting the actual criminals that are actually getting a gun to go out and do something bad.
Well, God, says that if you're a criminal, like in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 28, let him that stole steal no more, but rather let him labor, working with his hands, the thing which is good, that he may have to give to him that needeth, to repay him that he stole from. Well, we don't do that. These prisoners should be supporting themselves in prison. That shouldn't be a cost to the taxpayers, as God says in Exodus that a person that steals like an ox is supposed to pay back 4 oxes.
Well, sure. I mean, yeah, we want them to be self-sufficient, and that would be nice, and we're working towards that to be able to pay for the cost of them actually being in prison, which is, we talked a little bit about that last hour in the program, of the mentorship programs and the work that they have, and they can kind of pay off some of their debts, which is good. The problem is, though, that if they come out with crazy amounts of debt, then a lot of times they go back into that life. But you're right. I mean, I get it, and we need to get back to that type of mentality with self-sufficiency, that's just very difficult to do when we have individuals saying that the rich don't pay their fair share when they already pay the majority of the taxes both in the state and at the federal level because, well, they just hate rich people because they're envious, they're jealous, which is, as far as I'm aware, another sin as well. Let's go back to the phone line number 2. Good morning. What's your name?
Good morning, Andy.
Carl Peter John. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm fine. I just wanted to throw out a couple little facts on legislative process as you get started. Normally up in Topeka, when a bill gets introduced, there's about three ways that it's commonly done. One, a legislator or a group of legislators puts their name on a bill, and they introduce it together, and that way there's some accountability on it. But they have a little game up in Topeka called the committee bill, and often bills get introduced by, quote, by committee, and so there's literally no one's name on the bill.
Sure.
And then the third way is it'd be like Senator Smith or Representative Jones by request. In other words, a constituent talks to their legislator and says, hey, I'd like you to introduce a bill, and the legislator agrees to do it by the request of the constituent, and that's the least common of them. But in terms of, in some states there's restrictions on how many bills each legislator can introduce during a session. There's restrictions on, there has to be a name on the bill. It can't be introduced somewhat anonymously like we have here in Kansas with apparently this bill that's going to do away with a lot of the reforms that were passed during the Brownback era.
Sure.
Andy, the rubber's going to meet the road because Kansas is becoming the high tax point on the prairie again, and with the tax increases that the black-robed legislature, the Kansas Supreme Court, rammed through, and the liberal legislators who voted for tax and spend policies. Kansas is interesting. There was a recent census study about the 5 states where most people are leaving, and of course it was states that are horribly misgoverned like New York, California, Illinois.
Sure.
But among the top 5 was Kansas.
Oh, sure.
And this is going to have consequences down the line. I could easily see Kansas losing a congressional seat, and we could go from 4 down to 3. Back in the 1920s, Andy, there used to be 8 members of the United States House of Representatives from Kansas, and due to the big government, high tax and spend policies that have been enacted both by a lot of both Republicans and Democrats, Kansas's population relative to the rest of the country has shrunk. Of course, we're down to 4 members of the U.S. House now. But I think the way things are going, I think we're going to lose one in either 2020 or 2030.
Well, that would
so
be...
that cheery note for you this morning, Andy. But a little legislative background on how the sausage gets ground up at the State House, and the fact that
Sure.
There are a lot of liberals in both parties. They call themselves moderates, but
exactly.
But
no, you're right, Carl. And I hate to cut you out. We're late on a break here. We're going to take, but you're absolutely right. And that way, again, the transparency that we have now too, where we can actually watch the live streams and live views of a lot of these committees, I think is more important than ever because we should have a name on a bill on who's actually representing this. I don't think it should come out as a whole of a committee because I think we should know exactly who's behind it. And if they're not going to put their name on the bill, then I think it's our due diligence to sit there and unfortunately sit there and watch a lot of the committee hearings and listen to what they're saying in the committees to see who's actually bringing this to the table inside the committee and who's advocating for it and who's voting for it and who's not voting for it. So that way we don't have Republicans or Democrats that are hiding behind the committee saying, well, it came out of the committee and there's nothing I could do about it when they allowed it to get through the committee in the first place. So that's on us. That's on us for the transparency and for that kind of accountability. Got to take a break. Got some other calls on the line. Don't go anywhere. We'll get to you as soon as we come back. 26 minutes past the hour. This is The Voice of Reason. Stay here.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier on the Big Talker, KQAM.
Ag News, Mid-America Ag Network. I'm Craig Meade. Well, the record-long partial government shutdown is likely to cost billions and has already hamstrung the nation's 2 million or so farming operations. Everyone knows how tough it is to get back to work after a long absence, but if you're USDA with a huge backlog of farm program and other applications, implementing a farm bill, paying furloughed workers, and more, it's even more daunting. How and when the partial government shutdown of 9 federal departments and other agencies will come to an end, no one knows. But the cost will be huge in paying workers for no work, the overtime to catch up, impacts of lost services, and a delayed farm bill. American Farm Bureau Director Dale Moore.
It's always a challenge to implement a farm bill because there are a lot of changes in the ability of farmers to come in and sign up for the coming crop year, particularly given where the markets have been. This is certainly going to be a challenge and one we're hoping gets resolved very soon.
Moore says farmers can't make key planting decisions until the shutdown is resolved and USDA has money.
The risk management options, whether it's crop insurance or the farm programs themselves, and certainly some of the other provisions in the Farm Bill as farmers making plans, for the conservation programming. And all of those pieces are critically important.
And even more so now with just weeks to go for farmers and their lenders to make those kind of decisions. USDA also cannot process new tariff rescue payment requests. And with the EPA shutdown, it can't do a rule for year-round E15 use. And shutdown costs are continuing to pile up. The Washington Post reports a 2-week shutdown in October of 2013 during the last presidential administration cost an estimated $2.5 billion and more than $2 billion in lost economic output, not including lost user fees and late interest payments on the national debt. Ag News from Mid-America Ag Network.
When your car starts giving you fits, do what I do. Depend on AutoSmart to take care of it. They'll take care of it in a professional and timely manner, and it'll be done right the first time. If your engine or tranny is about to shoot craps, don't go looking at new cars. See Scott about a Jasper remanufactured engine or transmission. Jasper is one of the most trusted names in the industry, and they're still the home of the $99 brake job. AutoSmart, 5751 West Central, proud supporters of the Kansas Honor Flight.
Call the voice of reason now on the ABC Recycling phone lines at 721-8255. This is the Big Talker, KQAM.
Bottom of the hour news coming up when we come back. Bryan Frye, Wichita City Council member, will be hanging out with us. Got some of the calls in line as well. Big stuff going on, but remember, these bills are coming out left and right. Who's supporting them? Who's sponsoring them? Will they go anywhere? The fight has begun, and hopefully you are prepared to work on that fight. Come on.
The latest news from the Big Talker, KQAM.
President Trump's Attorney General nominee will face questions from the Senate Judiciary Committee today. William Barr begins his confirmation hearings. Jessica Schneider says questions will center on the Russia investigation.
Now, we've already gotten a sneak preview of what William Barr will stress, and he'll promise 2 major things. First, that he'll let the Mueller probe move forward and not interfere. And second, that he'll be transparent and allow the public and Congress to see what Mueller uncovers.
Day 25 of the partial government shutdown, President Trump has edged away from the idea of going around Congress to build a wall, but said yesterday that he would never back down from pursuing it. Broadway legend Carol Channing has died.
Dolly, I'll never go away again.
Best known for her role as Dolly in Hello, Dolly, the Tony-winning actress was 97 years old.
Hello, Dolly. Well, hello.
Grainger stands for safety, and they know what safety stands for. S, safety. A, all about safety. F, feeling good about safety. E, extreme safety. T, talking about safety. Y, you guessed it, safety. First aid kits, eye wash stations, fire protection, you name it. For over 90 years, they've been helping to keep facilities safe and people safer. When it comes to safety, Grainger's got your BACK. Call or click Grainger.com to see for yourself. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Looking for ways to save with your Medicare plan? Walgreens is a preferred network pharmacy with many plans nationwide, which could mean lower copays for you. So bring your prescriptions to a Walgreens pharmacy today to start saving. Walgreens, trusted since 1901. Walgreens participates as a preferred network pharmacy with United Healthcare, Cigna HealthSpring, and Express Scripts Medicare. For a complete list of available plans, please contact 1-800-MEDICARE. TTY users should call 1-877-486.
Work news, good Tuesday. 2 people died yesterday in a southwest Kansas accident just after 10:30 6:30 yesterday morning in Meade County. The Kansas Highway Patrol reports a Toyota driven by 73-year-old Dana House of Goodyear, Arizona was westbound in the outside lane of U.S. Highway 54 when authorities say House's vehicle crossed into the inside lane, then into the inside eastbound lane, colliding with a Peterbilt semi-truck driven by 44-year-old Ben Meade, where she died. The semi-driver was not injured. In his swearing-in ceremony on the south steps of the state capitol yesterday, Kansas Attorney General Derek Schmidt became the second longest-serving of the 44 attorneys general in state history. Mid-American Network News.
Here's another Scott Auction. Scott Auction will be conducting the 27th Annual Western Kansas Farm and Industrial Equipment Auction on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, February the 18th, 19th, and 20th at the Garden City Regional Airport, Garden City, Kansas. We want your consignments of farm, loader, and antique tractors, combines, and harvest equipment, industrial equipment, loaders, backhoes, skid steers, forklifts, and related items, farm tillage, row crop, and hay equipment, semis, trucks, pickups, flatbed, gooseneck, grain, livestock, utility, and semi-trailers, irrigation engines, pipe and sprinkler equipment, shop equipment, power tools, welders, and generators, motorhomes, campers, boats, ATVs, and motorcycles, riding mowers, sprayers, and fuel tanks, livestock equipment, and related items. Call in consignments now for maximum advertising and commission discount. For consignment terms, see scottauction.com or call 1-800-466-8214. Scott Auction's 27th Annual Western Kansas Farm and Industrial Equipment Auction on February the 18th, 19th, and 20th at the Garden City Regional Airport. Another Scott Auction. There is a reason.
Wichita RV is celebrating its 30th year anniversary by bringing you the Wichita RV and Outdoor Show January 16th through the 20th at Hartman Arena. Don't be fooled by pretenders. Shop this year's Wichita RV and Outdoor Show and take advantage of the best savings of the year on the huge selection of new and used RVs in every price range. Great deals and special financing only during the show. $5 admission and plenty of free parking. Plus, military, first responders, and children under 12 get in free. Wichita RV and Outdoor Show at Hartman Arena January 16th to the 20th.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, some patchy fog, mostly sunny and 50. Tonight, partly cloudy and 30. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy and 43. Chance of rain tomorrow night, mostly cloudy and 32. Sunny and 48 Thursday. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 7:35, it's currently 25 degrees.
This segment of The Voice of Reason on KQAM brought to you by Riverside Cafe, home of the 3-pound burger and hand-cut fries, plus breakfast all day long. 2 Wichita locations and 824 North Baltimore in Derby. Riverside Cafe. Defending the rights of every Kansan.
I'm not being aggressive, I'm being dominant.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Oh, man, having more fun than we should be each and every day, waking you up the best way you know how to do so, better than a cup of coffee, a shot of espresso, even an energy drink, usually about 95% sure of our gender identification on a daily basis. Welcome, and it is that time. We do it every single Tuesday.
We built this city.
As we have our city council member in here, Mr. Bryan Frye. Bryan, good morning, sir. How you doing?
Good morning, Andy. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you.
Living the dream,
Absolutely.
doing the thing. I've been joking, but saying that, hey, the legislative session's underway. We have a new Democrat governor, and since she's been sworn in, it's been below freezing outside. I think Kansas has come
Which is nice,
to a new
yeah.
front. Yeah, it's so she brought the ice chill to Kansas.
That's right. Man, I guess Kellogg was a little mess this morning.
Yeah,
so
I blame it on her. It's
Yeah,
not global
there you
warming; it's Laura Kelly. Yeah, there it is. You guys are underway now that the 2019 year has come up. But first off, now do you guys have like the county kind of a legislative agenda that you go and
we do?
You talk to the legislators about your issues here for the city as well.
We do. Every year we adopt a agenda for the coming year, not only a state one but also a federal one.
Mm-hmm.
And so we work with our area legislatures. We've hosted a reception for the newly elected ones late last year, and then just last week we participated in a South Central Kansas legislative workshop where we presented our priorities in front of all of them, and then we have staff that continue to negotiate and communicate and talk with them all session long.
Sure.
So.
Very good. Very good. And that stuff you guys have been working, as you mentioned, towards the end of last year. But now you guys get the fun part of starting a brand new year, some new agenda, some new projects, some good stuff going on. And kind of across the board, you guys are working on some odds and ends.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything from metal theft to highway to job training.
Are we still seeing the metal, like the stealing of copper and all that?
We have. In fact, we're seeing an increase.
Really?
Yes. The price of copper has increased. We're seeing more thefts. In fact, there was a former restaurant on North Rock Road that had closed and had been boarded up, shuttered. And while it was shuttered, thieves broke in and did $130,000 worth of damage for a few $100s worth of copper, if even that much. And so, I mean, it's very real. I mean, that's a big challenge. If you want to reopen that space, you're looking at $130,000 that you got to start with,
right?
Just to get it back up to where it needed to be before you do any improvements. And so, that's a huge obstacle, and we're seeing more and more of that throughout the city. And so,
one way to stop that, would it be like where people go to turn it in?
Right.
I mean, to talk to them, be like, hey, if you think it's a little shady with someone here trying to sell a bunch of copper because it's a bunch of cut up pipes that look like they actually go to something. Can't we do something about it from that front?
So there was a registration database software for all of the different metal recycling places that when you came in to sell, you had to register who you were and your address and all that content, and you were selling so much, right? And that became an issue on who is buying that software and who's paying for it, and that kind of got held up. So we're pushing that back into saying, okay, so we have some private industries that are willing to help pay for that software. The state needs to help us with that so that everyone is participating in it.
Right.
Certainly the smaller shops, they don't want to have to go to that expense. Okay, well then if it helps all of us, need the state to help provide it, and then some private businesses who are willing to do it because it's affecting their livelihood. So that everyone has to do it. But yes, there is a process, and we need to continue to push for that so that everybody has that same software and uses it and enforceable.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's really the only way we can really stop this because, I mean, it's terrible why people think it's okay. Hey, you know what? Let's break into a house, break into a company, steal all the copper wiring out of there, copper pipes, whatever, and then go into. I mean, it's just so ridiculously stupid. I don't get that.
Last I heard, it was like $2.60 a pound or something. Well, how much copper wiring do you have to collect to create a pound?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So.
Wow.
Yeah, and we've had some break-ins downtown in some buildings, and just the damage that it causes with window replacements and doors and HVAC units. Ridiculous.
Yeah,
for a little piece of copper, right? A few inches long. No.
I just don't get it. It's easier to probably go and rob a jewelry store or something like that than to actually go and try and sell that. Which don't do that either. That's stupid.
Right.
But, that's stupid. But I just don't get it. It makes no sense to me. Budget debates. Now we get to start the fun process as the state starts working about their budget issues. You guys at the city level get to start working about your budget issues as well.
Absolutely. This is the start of the year is when we start beginning working on our budget issues, our capital improvement plan, which is an annual 10-year look forward on all capital investments and infrastructure. So we start that here at the first of the year and work through that. Some of the same things that we talked about last year, libraries, roads, cultural arts facilities. Those are all still going to be at the top of the list because while we prevented the cuts last year, we've got to continue to monitor that and figure out a smarter, more efficient way of doing and operating those parts of our government. We are seeing some job growth, which is great. There was a report that was just released last week that said we're outpacing the rest of the state. We're growing faster, which is great.
That's a good thing.
That's exactly what we hoped for, and we need to continue to do that. Spirit recently announced that they're needing to hire another 1,400. Cargill's already talking about expanding. We're seeing growth at our machine shops and other industries, and so that's great, and that's what we're intended to do, and that's what we need to continue to push, but we have to exceed beyond the rate of inflation and so forth so that we can continue to not have to make cuts on things that most people see as quality of life issues for the city. And again, our parks and our libraries and our cultural attractions, that's what defines a city. That's what makes it unique. That's what makes it desirable to live and work and play here, if you've got those things. And again, road maintenance is always going to be an issue here, and we need to continue to invest in our streets, and we have increased that budget. But yeah, this is the time of year when we start to really get in depth into it. I know next week we have a couple of workshops, one on aquatics, and we're continuing to look at how we can get the best rate of return on all of our facilities, and making sure that we have the necessary funds to operate them efficiently, and that we're doing right by our citizens. And so we're taking another look at the aquatics program, and what pools we have, how many we keep open, how many splash pads, etc. So
the ever-going debate.
The ever-going debate, yeah. And, of course, Century 2 is always out there, and our golf courses. And so we still have a lot of heavy work to do, and this is when
Are we still looking at selling some of the golf courses? We have, like 5 or 6 through the city?
We have 5 golf courses. Yeah. There was an RFP for McDonald Golf Course. Only one bid came back, and the park board rejected that bid. So
interesting.
We're back to where we were before. 5 golf courses, one on life support, the other one getting close to life support.
Sure.
And so we really need to get in depth as to what is the future of golf and what do we do with them, and you know.
I just wonder if we're just oversaturated in the area. I mean, it's cool to play golf. Now, I've never played golf, but the people that enjoy it. But I mean, 5 city ones plus all the private ones that are around. I mean, at some point, there's just too many, and we've oversaturated. And when do we? If you mentioned if they're on life support, at what point do we say, yeah, we just better pull the plug and just stop losing money on this thing?
Right. Well, and we've lost a couple of courses already within the last 5 years. WSU Brayburn Golf Course closed, and then Echo Hills up north, and so. And that's kind of a trend across the country. We're seeing more and more golf courses close because it's a sport that is not as popular as it used to be. It's a very expensive sport to play. And so, and you're right, we have quite a few very good quality courses here in our community.
Sure.
And in the surrounding community. So where is that oversaturation point? Or where is that sweet spot? That's what we got to figure out.
Yeah. You did mention as well the libraries. I know last year we talked about, the new main big library. It was like $1 million that we moved all the books over. We kind of updated it. We kind of bumped it up. How is that one doing?
So the Advanced Learning Library, all ICT, downtown, the relocation of the main branch over to the new facility. Since we've opened it, I understand we've had over 8,000 new library cards subscribed or taken out.
Sure.
Circulation, traffic is up big time at the downtown branch. We're seeing a lot more programming, a lot more activity, a lot more people there. And so it's been a great success. We're in the middle right now of a library branch study, figuring out the impact the new all ICT has had on the branches.
Sure.
And what is the role of the branches going forward. In my district, Westlink Library is the #1 branch library in the system. Prior to our new downtown branch opening, it was the #1 branch across the city, including downtown. Most of the time, it was accounting for 25% of the checkouts.
Sure.
Which is phenomenal when there's more than just 4 libraries. So it was doing a quarter of the work. Now it's still around 20%, 23%, even though downtown library is open. But we have to look at all of our branches. Again, where is their role? What is their mission? What is the critical needs that they have at each one of those in relation to what all ICT is becoming? And so we're in the middle of that right now. There's Councilmember Claycomb and Councilmember Blueball and myself, and then a couple of our library board folks on that committee. And we're meeting weekly to try to figure out, okay, where do we go with our branch system?
Sure. Very good. You did mention, by the way, the new members coming in now that we have Pete Meitzner going into the county commission as well. But you guys have some new members in the city council.
So we do. Councilmember Meitzner joined the county, and now he's commissioner representing District 1, which had been Dave Unruh, who retired. And then replacing him, we selected last week Becky Tuttle. And so she is going to represent District 2 on the city council for the remainder of this term.
Okay.
Because Pete had less than a year remaining on his term.
Sure.
So she will have to decide if she wants to run to repeat or if she's just going to do the year. But she's great. She's a former YMCA executive.
Okay.
Very involved in community health and nutrition and exercise, and so hopefully I'll get in better shape because she'll be right next to me in office, and she can hopefully teach me and keep me on the New Year's resolution track.
I can see after every city council meeting, you guys going back there and doing like yoga poses.
Do some
and
exercise.
Stuff. Yeah, there you go. Do some yoga stuff.
That would be good. I think I definitely could use it, but she's great. I've worked with her on a few projects. She was very instrumental in getting us the bike share program downtown.
Okay.
And so she's been a long-time community volunteer and activist, and so she's going to be a great addition to the bench.
Good.
So looking forward to it.
Very good. It's going to be a fun meeting today, as you mentioned. I mean, not some crazy hard-hitting issues yet, but it's coming up, and just kind of the touch and go on a lot of different issues around here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the start of a new year is always the start of some new fun stuff. And
something brand new.
And so we look forward to it, and we always invite people to come down and attend our council meetings. We also have district advisory board meetings. Every council member has one. I went last night to Becky's District 2 DAB meeting just to hear what people are saying. I try to make the rounds to all of the different DABs. But certainly council meeting, everyone's always welcome. And we look forward to it.
Hey, I love it. Where and when can they go today for the city council meeting?
So City Hall is Central and Main. And council chambers are on the first floor, and we start at 9 a.m.
9 a.m., ready to rock and roll. I love it. City Council Member Bryan Frye, it's always a pleasure, sir, on our Tuesday update here. You guys have fun with the new members, and let's see what the message is going to be for 2019.
Just more growth. That's the main thing. Keep it going. Keep the pedal to the metal.
We got to find a way to get people in, because I know we're seeing a lot of jobs come in, which is awesome. Now we got to get people to come to Kansas to want to fill the jobs.
That's right. Well, and that's a challenge throughout the state. I mean, to get on the big picture here.
Exactly.
Kansas is a very slow growth state. And, my other job is with the Kansas Chamber of Commerce. And so that's something that we're very aggressive on, too. And Wichita's certainly the bell cow right now in this region, but the other parts of the state are not growing as fast. And as a community of large state, we need to continue to grow that.
Sure.
And so it's always going to be a challenge.
Always going to be a challenge. Bryan Frye, always a pleasure, my friend. We'll do it again next Tuesday.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, always a good time. Take a break. 10 minutes at the top of the hour. Your phone calls when we come back. Plus, hour number 3, we got great guests joining us. Jake LaTurner, State Treasurer and candidate for the U.S. Senate. Also, State Senator Ty Masterson and Chair of the Truth Caucus. We got some good stuff to talk about coming up in hour number 3 of The Voice of Reason. Stay right here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Market information, Mid-America Ag Network. Live cattle futures were mixed Monday. Nearby contracts were up 30 to 45 cents. Feeder cattle futures were 40 cents to $1.27 lower on the day. The CME Feeder Cattle Index was down 81 cents January 11th at 144.65. Wholesale boxed beef prices lower Monday afternoon. Choice boxes were 44 cents lower at 212.02. Select boxes were down 81 cents at 205.46. USDA estimated Monday's federally inspected cattle slaughter 119,000 head. That's 1,000 head above last week and 3,000 head larger than the same week last year. Lean hog futures posted 52.5 cent to $1.40 losses in most contracts Monday. The lean hog index was 70 cents higher than the previous day at 56.69 January 10th. The USDA pork carcass cutout value is up 23 cents Monday afternoon with an average weighted price of $71.19. The national base hog carcass value is 77 cents higher in the afternoon report, a weighted average of 51.66. Estimated federally inspected hog slaughter, 463,000 head Monday, down 17,000 head from last Monday, but 80,000 head larger than the same week last year. Turning our attention now to corn, soybeans, and wheat. Corn futures are trading 1 to 2 cents higher this morning after ending Monday's session with some fractional gains. Soybean futures are mixed as we start the day here. They settled with 5 to 6.5 cent losses on Monday, and wheat futures are mixed in Kansas City. Looking at where we are right now, March corn up 0.5 cent, 3.79. May up 0.5 cent at 3.87.5. March KC wheat is down 0.5 cent at 4.98.5. May's down 0.5 cent at 5.09 3/4. But we do see some green in some of the back months. And soybeans. March soybeans down 2 1/4 at 9.01 1/4. May down 2 1/4 at 9.15. We're seeing some pressure on soybean meal. Soy oil is fractionally higher. Market information, Mid-America Ag Network. 2018 was a tough year for agriculture. What will 2019 bring? Will there be an end to the trade war with China? How about another record corn or soybean crop? How can livestock producers expand export markets? Mid-America Ag Network takes a look at all this and more. Join me, Craig Mead, for Ag Outlook 2019, brought to you by the Kansas Wheat Commission and the Kansas Corn Growers Association. Ag Outlook 2019, right here.
Join us Saturday at 7 a.m. right here on KQAM, brought to you by PNB Insurance and the Comark Energy Co-op.
Don't miss more ways to save on a new Bobcat compact track loader at White Star Machinery. Choose a cash rebate up to $10,000 or take advantage of 0% financing for 60 months with no payments for 90 days with approved credit. Put Built Tough priced right Bobcat equipment to work and get peace of mind with our 2-year, $2,000 full warranty. Why wait? Start saving today. Check it out on our website, whitestarmachinery.com.
White Star, get the job done.
MJ's Truck Repair at Exit 46 off I-135 in Mound Ridge, America is the largest full-service truck center between Wichita and Salina in central Kansas. Truckers in the know already know, and ag people from miles around know they can turn to MJ's Truck Repair for repair and parts for their tractors, combines, and hay equipment. You construction types, listen up. Skid steers, backhoes, forklifts, bulldozers, and payloaders, MJ's of Mound Ridge is also your construction equipment parts and repair headquarters. Find MJ's on the web at mjstruckrepair.com.
You can find out why Pizza John's is the choice for pizza in Derby for over 44 years. Pizza John's in Derby, the original purveyors of round meals and flat snacks, is more than just pizza. Lunches include salads, spaghetti complete with garlic bread, and Pizza John's of Derby is the hoagie headquarters of South Central Kansas. Dine in or carry out. Delivery after 5 p.m. by simply calling 788-2011 or quick and easy online at pizzajohnsderby.com. Pizza John's.
And now this message about fully customized vehicle wraps and graphics from Shire Graphics of Park City.
Park City's Shire Graphics has the highest quality of big truck and fleet graphics, from passenger vehicles to the big rigs and everything in between. No matter the size of your fleet, Shire Graphics of Park City is the area's leader in digitally printed vehicle wraps. Superior quality digital vehicle graphics from Shire Graphics, where their niche is your need in vehicle graphics, from single vehicle to fleet. Shire Graphics at shiregraphics.com.
Whatever your business, count on EMC Insurance, because our business is protecting your business. EMC Insurance Companies has the knowledge and expertise to provide you with the right insurance coverage options. And when you insure your business with EMC, you receive the added value of our free loss control services, no matter the size of your company. Contact your local independent insurance agent and ask about insurance from EMC. In Wichita, call IMA Inc. at 267-9221.
We make talk radio big. This is the Big Talker, 1480 AM and 102.5 FM, KQAM.
5 minutes to the top of the hour, wrapping up hour number 2. Thanks again to Bryan Frye, Wichita City Council member, coming on the show. We appreciate that very much. As always, I tell you what, we got to stay vigilant, not only at the statewide level or the county level, which, come on, I don't know if you heard or not, but the hearings, the court hearings for Michael O'Donnell got pushed back again from the end of January into February now. And just dragging it out, kicking the can down the road. Just finish that. Let's hear the hearings, let's hear the results, and let's just be done with it. But at the city level, there are some things that I think we need to be concerned about and that we need to focus some of our attention on just a little bit to fight for at the local level. First off, when it comes to, I know the pool thing is going to be a big issue. The pools or the splash pads, what are we going to do? But if you remember last year, they really did a big push on the smoking, both with like the vaping and not allowed to vape, and then the smoking in buildings. And I think that is still a ridiculously absurd, stupid idea. I think it needs to be the decision of the business owners in order to decide whether they want smoking in their venues or not. Up to them, not up to the government. But it sounds like there's potential for the message of smoking out in public or in open areas as well, like parks, when you're walking your dog. or you're in an open area where, the smoke does not affect anybody if you're not within a 2-foot radius of you. And then you apparently, some may want to try and start working on that. So I think that's a complete abuse, really stupid, and I think that's a really bad idea. We'll focus some time on that. By the way, as well, the public libraries, as you know, the public libraries that the one that did allow the drag queen to come and speak a few months ago, and that was a big issue, the drag queen readings, or whatever the hell they call them, that was at that new Advanced Learning Center library, the big one that was downtown. And from what it sounds like, talking a little off the air, because I wanted to ask him on the air and we didn't get a chance to do so, that there's putting some more rules in place, a little more stringent, in order to, if there's events like that that's going to go on at the public library, that they have to go a little bit higher up the chain to get approval for events to go on at the library, which I think is a good idea. But on the other hand, I just think that if we're going to do events like that, we need to allow any type of events to be at the library, and it needs to be come up from the idea of from the people outside of the board of the library. So there's a few issues that we will address throughout the year, and some big issues that will go on in the city that will be fun to discuss and talk about as they arise, as I'm sure that they will. I know that there's going to be more talks about more of those drag queen readings. There's going to be more of the pools and the splash pads on what kind of money is going to be sunk into some of those. And then, of course, a lot of the smoking bans and other regulations that the government feels like they have to impose. So we'll do all of that this year. It's going to be a fun time. When we come back, Jake LaTurner, state treasurer and first candidate to jump into the ring for the U.S. Senate race. He's going to be joining us on the program, plus State Senator Ty Masterson after that as well. Big hour number 3. You're not going to want to miss it. Even if you're at work, jump on YouTube, jump on TV, jump on the radio, jump on the TuneIn app. Doesn't matter. Watch us live, listen to us live. Big stuff happening. This is the time where we really start paying attention right here on The Voice of Reason. Hour number 3 coming up. Stay here.
This is Phil Martinez from Phil's Coins. It's sad when it happens, but there are still businesses out there that will try the old bait and switch. They'll promise you one thing to get you in and then deliver far less, or something totally different once you're there. At Phil's Coins, when we say we buy, sell, and trade with honesty and integrity, that's exactly what we mean. In fact, I encourage you to shop the competition first. It will make doing business with Phil's Coins like a walk in the park. Phil's Coins, 9344 West Central.
Waring and Fiegel Optometry at 2121 North Tyler, number 302, has a selection of prescription sun eyewear that's so bright everyone can be wearing shades. Waring and Fiegel Optometry has the names in sun eye apparel that people seek. Prescription eyewear from Maui Jim, Oakley, Wiley X, Rudy Project, and even sunglasses from Amphibia. Squinting in this beautiful sunshine doesn't have to be a thing. What are you wearing? Waring and Fiegel Optometry, 21st in Tyler.
This is a Steckline Communications station, K273CX, FM 102.5, and AM 1480 KQAM, Wichita proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center, brought to you by Heartland Avionics and JD Aviation, your aircraft maintenance partners at Augusta Municipal Airport. Learn more at iflyaugusta.com.
Good Tuesday morning. The man that pled guilty last year to running over a Wichita police officer in 2017 has been sentenced. 32-year-old Justin Terrasas was sentenced yesterday to just over 28 years, which will run consecutively to an 11-year sentence in a case from Ellsworth County. In February of 2017, Officer Bryan and his partner were monitoring a house when Terrasas fled in an SUV and ran over Arterburn as he was attempting to place spike strips in the path of the vehicle. Arterburn, a 25-year police veteran, suffered chest, abdomen, and brain injuries. A man who was shot last week by Wichita police has died. Wichita police said yesterday that 29-year-old Jeffrey Morris of Wichita died from his injuries on Saturday. Police say Morris was shot Thursday when officers tried to arrest him on an outstanding warrant. Police say Morris intentionally backed into a car, then drove forward, causing officers to fear they could be run over or seriously hurt. A federal judge has again delayed the fraud trial of Sedgwick County Commissioner Michael O'Donnell. The trial was set to begin January 29th, but has now been moved to February 25th. Attorneys agreed the trial would likely take 5 days. O'Donnell has been accused of fraudulently obtaining over $10,000 from his campaign accounts for his personal use. An indictment charges him with 23 counts of wire fraud and 3 counts of money laundering. About 37,000 customers in the Wichita area are getting a cut in their natural gas bills starting this month to pass along federal tax reductions approved about a year ago. Black Hills Energy customers in Wichita will see about a $7.30 reduction in their January gas bill. In total, the company is passing along about $1.7 million in annual savings to its customers. I'm Rick Everett from the news desk. Now to the sports desk and Doug Downs.
The number 7 Kansas Jayhawks got a scare last night inside Allen Fieldhouse from upset-minded Texas. The Longhorns came in and played the Jayhawks tight to an 80-78 win for Kansas. Sophomore guard Marcus Garrett had 20 points, something head coach Bill Self has been waiting for.
That's the first time we've seen him be aggressive like that offensively since he's been here. And of course, it always helps when your first couple of shots go down, but he was really a good player tonight.
For the Wichita State Shockers, they're in final preparation as they're still looking for their first conference win. Starting 0-4 in the conference on the season, they will face Central Florida tomorrow night at Charles Koch Arena. From the sports desk, I'm Doug Downs.
Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Maize, your one-stop shop to keep you comfortable as the coldest months of the season make their way to Kansas. Something for everyone that you might be needing this time of year. From many forms of heaters, ice melt, snow shovels, insulation kits for sealing up those drafts in doors and windows, and bird feeders and feed to keep the feathered friends happy this winter. Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Maize. We're much, much more than just a hardware store. Shrug off that cold this winter with Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Maize, where we take pride in serving you. A DUI can literally stop a person and their vehicle in its tracks. If you know someone who's gotten a nudge from the judge and their vehicle can't budge without an ignition interlock device, the next right move is Just Right Auto Repair. Just Right Auto Repair at 4312 West Central is Wichita's Intoxilock Ignition Interlock Installation Specialist. Intoxilock is the preferred device of choice among customers and monitoring authorities. Make your vehicle just right in the Quartz site. Just Right Auto Repair, your Intoxilock Ignition Interlock Installation Specialist.
Attention, co-op members. In conjunction with Countryside Motors in Wellington, all co-op members and their families qualify for additional rebates on Chevrolet, Buick, Hustler turf equipment, and Polaris vehicles. This exclusive fleet rebate program is only being offered by Countryside Motors in Wellington, Kansas. Offers are not being published to the general public. They are available to co-op members in Kansas or Oklahoma. For full details, contact Countryside Motors in Wellington at 620-326-7433 or online at countrysidemotors.net.
Now, back to the KQAM News Desk.
President Trump's Attorney General nominee will face questions from the Senate Judiciary Committee today. William Barr begins his confirmation hearings. Jessica Schneider says questions will center on the Russia investigation.
Now, we've already gotten a sneak preview of what William Barr will stress, and he'll promise 2 major things. First, that he'll let the Mueller probe move forward and not interfere. And second, that he'll be transparent and allow the public and Congress to see what Mueller uncovers.
Day 25 of the partial government shutdown. President Trump has edged away from the idea of going around Congress to build a wall, but said yesterday that he would never back down from pursuing it. Broadway legend Carol Channing has died.
Dolly, I'll never go away again.
Best known for her role as Dolly in Hello, Dolly, the Tony-winning actress was 97 years old.
Hello, Dolly. Well, hello.
Your local weather on KQAM. Brought to you by Derby Mattress. No dancing animals, no gimmicks. Your locally owned hometown mattress store at 105 South Baltimore in Derby.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, some patchy fog, mostly sunny and 50. Tonight, partly cloudy and 30. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy and 43. Chance of rain tomorrow night, mostly cloudy and 32. Sunny and 48 Thursday. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 8:06. It's currently 25 degrees.
Your home for Wildcat basketball. This is the Big Talker, KQAM. It's time for Reason.
I don't think we should just do it. Why? You're here illegally. You've broken the law. There's no reason to even give you an ID form in any way, shape, or form. Why would we do that? Why would we step out as a state and say, you know what, you're violating federal immigration law? That's even mentioned here in the bill. You're not allowed to get an ID unless you're applying for a limited driver's license. Then it's okay if you're violating federal law, and it'll still give you some form of ID.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
When I get on my knees and pray, we don't get fooled again. Don't get fooled again.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Welcome into the Voice of Reason, hour number 3 of the Voice of Reason, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on the Big Talker, 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 on the FM side, KQAM. We are simulcasting on TV today, KGBT TV channel 2610 on your antenna. I was going to say satellite, not the satellite, but on the local antenna. All you got to do is point it and get 26.10. You can watch us live on there. We're also on YouTube Live, as many people jumping on there as well today. YouTube.com. Find KQAM Radio. Subscribe to the page. Watch us live. Watch all the podcasts. Leave a comment, as some people are doing this morning, which we love and appreciate very much. Welcome in, 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK. There's so much to get to this hour, so I want to get right to it. As we have on the line, I'm excited to have him on the show. We've had him on many times before, during election time and before that even, but he is the Kansas State Treasurer. He's also the very first candidate to jump into the race for the U.S. Senate come 2020. It's our State Treasurer, though, right now for the state of Kansas. Mr. Jake Laturner's on the line with us here. Jake, good morning, sir. How you doing, my friend?
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Hey, always a pleasure. I always enjoy getting you on the program. First off, congratulations on the swearing in yesterday, and congratulations on the announcement for the 2020 race. Some exciting stuff going on.
Hey, thank you so much. No, we're really excited about it. Yesterday we kind of ushered in a new era here in Topeka with the new administration. So we're going to wait and see how that works out. But no, we're very excited. We're standing strong, doing our level best to represent the people of Kansas.
You bet. I know your position itself is really nonpartisan or non-political because you just kind of handle the books on the state and make sure things get paid. But with kind of a change, as you said, a new era coming into Kansas. We have the Democrat governor now with Laura Kelly. We have a little bit more conservative-leaning legislature. From the bookkeeping standpoint, are you a little concerned about what may come out with spending rates or tax rates and whether you're going to be able to pay the bills or not at the end of the day?
Yeah, I'm very concerned because the new governor made so many promises during the campaign. She made a lot of different promises that cost a whole lot of money. Acts as though she also said she won't. She will not support a tax increase. But again, if you do the back of the envelope math on this stuff, there's no way to pay for all of it without a tax increase.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's very true. Now, looking at, we see the story in the media, and they have changed their tone quite a bit from the past administration saying, oh, well, we had tax receipts that came in higher than what we had projected, but it's really not where it needs to be. Then last month, the story was, well, it was still higher than projected. But when you look at it, sales tax that really gauges the growth of an economy, when we were one of only 3 states in the country last year that had negative GDP growth at negative 0.1%, do you gauge the growth of our economy in Kansas based on sales tax? Because sales tax hasn't budged a whole lot, and to me, that's a little concerning.
Sure. I mean, I take an all-the-above approach. We look at everything, and we're out there constantly talking to consumers and talking to business owners. I would say consumer confidence is still high in Kansas, and I think the Trump effect has been really good for the economy over the last couple of years. And revenues are, as you said, the whole tone has changed about how it's even reported. Mm-hmm. But again, we're not printing money here in Kansas. We have a $900 million surplus right now. But if you look at the committed spending as years go out, that budget surplus quickly disappears. And then you look at the potential for a $360 million school fix this year.
Sure.
These things cost money, and the government doesn't create wealth. The government taxes and takes this away from hardworking people. So I would encourage the legislature and the governor to be incredibly deliberative. Kansans need to keep more of their hard-earned money. We don't need to be expanding government.
That's very true. And I mean, as we look at that $900 million surplus, I mean, that's not is that what's sitting in the books right now, or is that what's projected based on what we predict the economic growth is going to look like?
That is the projection over the next year. There is a budget surplus right now, but again, if you look 3 or 4 years out at the committed spending, the school fix that they put in place, they did over the course of several years. And so the spending increases, CAPER's contributions increase. And look, I don't know a person in the Capitol building that doesn't want us to have great public education.
Sure.
I come from public schools. My dad's a public school teacher. But we have to have quality public education. We want good social services. We want quality roads. But just like Kansas families all across the state, they sit around the kitchen table. They set a budget, they set priorities, they fund the priorities, and then you cut out the waste. And so we're going to have to continue to do that. I've done it in my office as state treasurer. We need to do it across the state government.
Well, absolutely. And as you mentioned, I mean, no one says, to hell with the public schools. We want them to be efficient. We want them to work appropriately. We want them to actually do what they need to for the schools. But as you mentioned, I mean, if we're seeing an increase in spending already year over year for the long term over the next few years for education, and then we come back and we hear the rhetoric we're hearing now of we need to spend more because based on inflation or based on a new formula or whatever. I mean, in a 3-4 year period, this is our 2-year budget cycle now. We're already going to see the red, even if we do see a current surplus. But, politicians, they see that surplus now and they see the money in their eyes and they're like, oh, hey, we can spend money on a whole bunch of new goodies. Then we'll figure it out from there. And I don't want to go down that road, but it sounds like that's kind of the message that we may get from there.
Yeah, and it feels that way. And listen, the people of Kansas are great. They get it because they're making these choices in their own household budgets. They want elected officials to level with them, to say, hey, look, we can't spend this money on every single project across the board. We can't increase the budget for every department across the board. Kansas families understand that. They want good, efficient government that's wise with their money.
Exactly. I know that you don't have a whole lot of say on this, just being the treasurer, but we did have a question come up on the YouTube that I think maybe your thoughts from what the legislature can or should do about returning a lot of the Trump tax windfall to the people as opposed to the state of Kansas holding that. Is that something that you think we might be able to do this year?
I sure hope so. I would foresee the legislature putting that bill on Governor Kelly's desk. Of course, you can't see into the future, but I would guess that happens this year. I hope that it does. It should happen.
Boy, wouldn't that be nice? I like that. We're talking with Jake LaTurner, Kansas State Treasurer. Shifting gears a little bit from the legislative session, which is going to be entertaining in itself, to the big race that's going to attract a lot of attention. We've already seen you're really the only one that's officially announced. We've had a few others that shown interest in it, but the race for the 2020 Senate seat as Pat Roberts steps down, and we've had Susan Wagle, Senate President Susan Wagle, that said that she started a committee. We've had Matt Schlapp from the Federal American Conservative Union say he's interested. We've had Wink Hartman show some interest. I think more are going to jump in. Your thoughts on this race going into 2020? I know it's a ways out, but first off, what made you want to jump into that ring?
Well, look, I've been a conservative fighter my entire career. I did it in the state legislature when I was in the state Senate, giving folks the right to vote for property tax increases with the property tax lid, being a champion for the unborn, for the Second Amendment, an A-plus rating from the NRA, keeping taxes low, being efficient with taxpayers' dollars. I've done the same thing in the state treasurer's office. When I've been there for over the last year and a half, we have returned a record amount of unclaimed property, over $45 million. Over $45 million. Our 529 program is ranked the top 5 in the nation. Mm-hmm. We've traveled all 105 counties. We've done it all while reducing the staff and reducing our budget. I know we can do the same thing at the national level, and I think that conservatives want to have a conservative choice on the ballot in 2020, and that's what we are. We represent a new generation of leadership. And a new generation of conservative leadership.
Sure, absolutely. Going into that one, it could be, a toss-up, obviously, with the presidential election, whether it's going to swing the tide one way or another. But let's say President Trump gets back in there. If you get into that Senate seat, working with President Trump, working with at the federal level and the difficulties we have. I mean, we're seeing right now with, border security and the funding. And I mean, coming from the treasurer's standpoint, the budget's obviously a really big issue at the federal level. How would you like things to go? Would you be able to work with the Trump administration? And how can we get the federal budget kind of on track as well?
Listen, this president is a fighter. He every day stands up and tells the American people what he believes. He does not equivocate. I think that is exactly how we need to be on issues, and I think that's how we can be successful. $21 trillion in debt and counting. We have liberals on the coasts coming to Washington, D.C. and introducing legislation that will fundamentally change this country that we love, trying to give people something for nothing, trying to make people have no skin in the game. Listen, I will be proud to stand by and work with President Trump and other like-minded conservatives in the United States Senate to get things done.
I love it. Jake LaTurner, Kansas State Treasurer and candidate for the U.S. Senate race in 2020. If people want more information on your Senate race, how can they get a hold of you?
Listen, we launched the Contract with Kansas, contractwithkansas.com, where we launched 7 non-negotiable principles that I will stand on. I'm putting them out during the election so folks know exactly where I stand and so they can hold me accountable. We're actually going to do the things that we say we're going to do.
I love it. Contractforkansas.com. Check it out. Jake, we appreciate the time very much, my friend. I know you're a busy guy. We got to get you back on throughout this session to get some updates and to talk about the campaign trail.
Hey, I'd love it. Thank you so much for the time.
Hey, always a pleasure right there. Kansas State Treasurer and candidate for U.S. Senate, Jake LaTurner. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll get State Senator Ty Masterson on as well to chat with him on some of the legislative issues going on with this 2019 session. Lots more coming up on the show. You're not going to miss a single bit of it. 18 minutes past the hour. It's the Voice of Reason. Stay here.
Thanks for checking out my video. I do appreciate the time you take out of your life to go on YouTube.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
I'll see you later.
We know that Google tracks and records a lot of information about each of us. Well, how'd you like to get a copy of what they have about you? You can. Kim Komando with your Tuesday Consumer Tech Update. Get the free Komando podcast for the latest tech news and extended interviews. Search for Komando with a K wherever you get your podcasts. Think about how much you use Google. Gmail, Contacts, Docs, Calendar, Photos, Maps, Home, Translate, Chrome, Drive, and then some more. Your Google footprint includes your browsing history, searches, preferences, email, and other information stored on Google's servers. You can get a copy of it all using Google Takeout. You'll see exactly how much of your personal info is being tracked, and then you know what you need to lock down. You'll be notified by Google when your information is ready to download. To get a copy of your Google footprint, go to google.com/takeout. I bet you'll be shocked at just how much Google knows about you. I'm Kim Komando.
For years, I've been telling you about my printer of choice, the Epson EcoTank 4750. And it's easy to tell you why. It's revolutionary, it's wireless, and a complete all-in-one printer that's 100% cartridge-free. Now, I don't know about you, but I used to hate to having my print jobs interrupted just to replace an ink cartridge. Now, there's no more hassle with the Epson EcoTank 4750 because it comes with up to 2 years of ink right in the box. That's enough to print up to 11,000 color pages, and that's equivalent to about 30 ink cartridge sets. If I had to go buy 30 cartridge sets, that would cost me about $1,500. I love my Epson EcoTank printer, and I know you will too. And from now till March 31st, buy any EcoTank printer at Epson.com/EcoTankKim and get free overnight shipping when you use promo code EcoTankKim at checkout.
Offer valid within the 48 contiguous states. Exclusions apply, subject to availability.
ABC Recycling is a full-service recycling company with a long-time service to our community. Whether you're an individual or a company that encounters or produces scrap metal, the team at ABC can provide you with an easy and profitable recycling program that's fair and honorable because that's how they do business. ABC will customize a recycling program that fits your unique needs. Let us make your space cleaner, nicer for the environment, and all with a better bottom line. Visit us just west of Hydraulic and Gilbert or abcrecyclingllc.com. Mark Collier at Collier Allstate knows mayhem can happen at any time in Kansas. Whether you live in the city, one of Kansas's great small towns, or out in the Great Plains, Mark and Allstate will protect you from the effects of mayhem. Home, health, life, or business, Mark and his great staff will help you find the best protection. Mayhem is guaranteed to come. Let the Mark Collier Agency help you through it. Mark Collier, the Collier Agency, 204 North Main in Goddard. Give them a call at 316-413-4014 and on Facebook at Collier Allstate.
The Miller Minute with Dennis Miller.
I want to talk about virtual reality, which we've been sold as the entertainment of the future ever since today was considered to be the distant future. But according to the big Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, there was noticeably a lot less buzz about VR this year. I'd love to think that this is because more people want to spend time living their real lives in actual reality, but it's more likely that modern-day technology has far surpassed the imaginations of the mid-'90s. Why wear a helmet to pretend that you're living in a poorly developed situation with severe limitations when you can turn your living room into an entirely immersive, big-budget, major motion picture experience with realistic high-definition images and quadraphonic sound? Maybe we're just willing to sacrifice the simulated reality aspect of our entertainment for the convenience of keeping it in our pocket and being able to enjoy it at a moment's notice, anytime, anywhere. But I've got a two-word solution that will save the VR industry. Edible helmets. You're welcome. And that's the minute. I'm Dennis Miller.
It's so nice now that the kids are asleep.
Cheers.
We got the kids, our house, a stable income.
Checking off all the boxes.
But there's one box we haven't checked off.
Well, what's that?
Life insurance.
We don't need to think about that now. We're young.
That's why now is the best time. Life insurance gets more expensive the older you get.
But I don't have time to do a blood test. It's such a hassle to meet with someone just to get a quote.
Not with Ethos.
Ethos?
It's a modern kind of life insurance. You just answer 4 quick questions at getethos.com and get a free instant quote. No pushy salespeople. And no medical exams required for policies covering under $1 million. You can apply online in just 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Let's do it.
But then what will we do for the rest of the night?
I'm sure we can think of something.
Get your free instant quote and submit your complete application in minutes. Just go to getethos.com. That's ETHOS. Getethos.com. Getethos.com.
Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. You're listening to your home for local conservative talk, the Big Talker, KQAM.
24 minutes past the hour. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. Big stuff happening on the show today. Thanks again to Jake Turner, Kansas State Treasurer and candidate for the U.S. Senate. The first one to jump in, if you remember, Kansas State President Susan Wagle has started an exploratory committee but has not officially jumped in. We also have Matt Schlapp. That's a possibility. Wayne Cartman. I think we're going to have some others jump in last minute as well. I mean, it is a year and a half away, for crying out loud, but we do have some candidates jumping in already, and we appreciate him coming on the show. We'll chat with him again very soon. On the phone with us now, I want to jump right into the next guest as we have limited time again and so much going on. Great friend, great conservative, the solid fighter that we need in our state government day in and day out, from District Number 16, Kansas State Senator Mr. Ty Masterson on the line with us here. Ty, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, good morning, Andy. Well, I think you probably already heard it. We're now in a new era of standing around the campfire singing Kumbaya.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like what we're going to do. We're not going to argue politics anymore. We're probably going to have like some therapy, like yoga sessions where we can all get along and just, sing hands and sing Kumbaya.
Right, as long as we fit their model of bipartisanship.
Yeah, as long as we expend Medicaid, they'll be happy and we can get along. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is there are a handful of things you probably could get some. She campaigned on lower food sales tax. That's something obviously conservatives would be very interested in, although I'm sure they're looking at 0.2%, and we'd be looking at wiping the whole thing out. So you've got some distance there, but there are a handful of things that you probably could. But when it comes to the big ticket items like government growth, big spending, Second Amendment, abortion, life, I mean, there's just not a lot. I mean, for conservatives, you'll find plenty of progressive liberal Republicans will agree with that, and that's where your bipartisanship will be. But as a grand, there's still lots of discussion to be had.
Well, you're right. And it's funny because the media is portraying it that way as well. The Democrats and the media are both going on this, we have a new phase. We have a new chapter in Kansas. We have a Democrat governor. And even though Democrats are putting up, I think, primarily the large portion of the bills in both chambers first off, they're going under the mental status of let's all get together and work together, and then maybe we can continue to promote our agenda. But they're also realizing that if conservatives stand up, we're still in the majority in the legislature, and we're not going to back down. So they're trying to come off with a nice, calm voice right off the bat, aren't they?
Oh, well, I think they do feel energized, and that's why you see a lot of those pre-filed bills, because if you really look at some of this, what you don't know are some of our new people, which we have a really good crop of new members of the House, but if you run old voting records, it is a pretty tight line between Democrats and the progressive Republicans, rhinos, if you will, and the conservatives. There's a pretty close line to a simple majority that could land either way, so there's a lot of energy to get some of their agenda done.
Well, let's talk about some of that. As you mentioned, Governor Kelly had talked about the sales tax and wanted to cut it. Then she came out just late last week and said, well, let's let the dust settle. We need to work on what we need to spend first and what we need to do budget-wise. Then we can address tax issues later. I think she's already trying to kick that can down the road and make people forget the fact that if we continue to increase spending, we may have a surplus for this year, but 2 years down the road, we're still back in the red on our budget, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely. And what everybody's already forgotten, which astonishes me, you'll hear people talk about, well, they promised to do all these things without a tax increase, but the real truth is do it without another tax increase. Because they forget we just had a huge retroactive tax increase last year, right? I mean, so that's now been implemented. And that's where the surplus is. You have this immediate huge tax increase, but they want to increase spending to such a level it even outruns the projections that we have with that tax increase in place.
Golly. Well, and we already spent that money. I mean, that was $1 billion tax increase, the largest in state history. And after we saw that revenue tax receipt go up on the charts with expenditures, we saw that go up as well because it all went towards education. We didn't even see anything of it.
Right. Yeah, all that. And they still did all those same things that they were accusing Brownback of, right? Money from the transportation plan and capers, deferment, all that still was inside their budget. Mm-hmm. In order to end all that and increase spending that they have proposed, you're in the red quite quickly with the current tax increase. So it doesn't surprise me at all she's backpedaling off sales tax because that on food, because I mean that sounds great in the campaign, but it doesn't allow her to spend at the level that she's going to want to spend.
Well, and the crazy part is that even Democrats are on board, I think, with limiting that sales tax, at least voters, not actually elected official Democrats, but voters. The legislative forum that we had last week in town for the South Central delegation, when I went up and spoke and we mentioned getting rid of sales tax on food, we got applause from Republicans and Democrats. So I think she would actually do well and actually look very favorable if she ended up advocating for something like that. We got the bottom of the hour break coming up here in just a second. Ty Masterson, state senator, on with us. Ty, when we come back, I want to get your thoughts on some of the bills that were introduced. One of them, Senate Bill 8, with the 3-day wait period for guns from Aletha Faust-Godot. That's entertaining. Then we have one for changing requirements for social programs. Are we already trying to backtrack on the conservative principles? We'll do all that and more when we come back. Plus, Medicaid expansion did pass 2 years ago in both chambers, vetoed by Governor Brownback. Is that a concern that we should have in this session? All that and more coming up as we wrap up the show today. Bottom of the hour news. State Senator Ty Masterson hanging out with us here for a bit right here on The Voice of Reason. Don't go anywhere.
Here's the latest from the KQAM News Center.
President Trump's Attorney General nominee, William Barr, faces senators today in confirmation proceedings. A preview from correspondent Lauren Fox.
First, the newly minted committee chairman, Lindsey Graham, will begin reading his opening statement. After that, the top Democrat on the committee, Dianne Feinstein, will read her opening statement. Then Bill Barr will be sworn in, and he will make some opening remarks.
William Barr faces questions from the Senate Judiciary Committee on, among other items, his relationship with President Trump, his views on executive powers, and whether he can fairly oversee the special counsel's Russia investigation. Barr served as Attorney General under George H.W. Bush. VW and Ford announce a partnership, no merger talks, but rather a shared technology alliance focused on electric and autonomous vehicles. That word from the Detroit Auto Show. Broadway legend Carol Channing is dead at the age of 97. I'm John Trout.
Unisom presents a bedtime story.
A lot of people ask me, "Hey Einstein, how do you get all those ideas?" My formula is simple. Get a good night's sleep. Because sleep equals dreams, and dreams are where the magic happens. With Unisom sleep tabs, you'll get to your dreams faster because you'll fall asleep 33% faster. So good night, sleep tight, and keep your dreams alive with Unisom.
Versus placebo in a clinical study. Use as directed.
At CarMax, when we say we buy all the cars, we mean it. Over the last 20 years, we've purchased millions of cars from coast to coast. In the last year alone, we've bought a mountain of Mercurys, an armada of Nissans, a ton of Titans, an ocean of Pacificas, and a sea of Siennas. Not to mention a few Hellcats and a couple of Tornadoes. So no matter what you're selling, CarMax is buying. And we'll buy your car even if you don't buy ours. CarMax, we buy all the cars.
Kansas Mid-America Network News. Good Tuesday. A grand jury process to investigate former Secretary of State Chris Kobach will begin next week in Douglas County. District Court Judge Kay Huff said she anticipates selecting the jury and calling the first witnesses on Tuesday. Lawrence Journal World reports the grand jury is being called after a successful citizen petition drive. Stephen Davis, who initiated the petition drive, alleged that Kobach's office failed to properly register several voters in 2016 who applied for registration while renewing their driver's licenses or filling out an online form. Kobach's office has called Davis's allegations patently false. Police in Liberal have arrested a female teacher on allegations of one count of unlawful sexual relations with an 18-year-old student. The 25-year-old teacher was arrested Sunday, and police in Liberal say she's resigned her position with the district. Mid-America Network News.
Mike here at Rusty Eck Ford with some exciting news. Our year-end offer is now extended till January 31st. That means you can still come pick out a new Ford and make no payments till 2020. That's right, drive it for all of 2019 and make no payments until 2020. Check out our nice selection at rustyeckford.com or come in person and take a look. When you decide, we'll set it up with no payments till 2020. Hey, it's a new year and you can have a happy new car. New cars, trucks, or SUVs with no payments till 2020 through January 31st. This offer is only available at Rusty Eck Ford in Wichita Town East and Kellogg. We're Rusty Eck Ford proud. Dealer retains rebates, Ford credit, interest accrues from date of sale. All negative equity paid in full. Max payment assistance up to $500. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Come visit us at Rusty Eck Ford or go to rustyeckford.com.
In January, everybody's wallet could use a little spending break, and at Yoder Meats we can help with that. This month we are offering our cheapest bundle of the year, only $57. The January bundle includes ground beef, minute steaks, sirloin steaks, pork chops, and chicken breast, all for just $57. If you're looking for an even better deal or a little less meat, the butcher bag is $28 this month. Follow us on Facebook for the latest information and weekly specials. Taste the old-fashioned flavor at Yoder Meats in Yoder and 3 locations in Wichita.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, some patchy fog, mostly sunny and 50. Tonight, partly cloudy and 30. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy and 43. Chance of rain tomorrow night, mostly cloudy and 32. Sunny and 48 Thursday. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 8:35, it's currently 27 degrees.
Call the Voice of Reason now on the ABC Recycling phone lines at 721-8255. This is the Big Talker, KQAM. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier, your personal political therapist. Give him a call at 721-TALK.
I am here for your therapy needs. I really am. I'll sit back. I'll smoke my pipe, wear my sweater vest. It's cool. It's cool. I'll listen to your problems. And don't worry, we'll get it all handled here. Welcome back into the Voice of Reason. Wrapping up the program, 36 minutes past the hour. This half hour of the broadcast brought to you by Wildwood Cellars. It's more than just buying a bottle of wine. You can learn tips about finding the wine that you like not the wine you're supposed to like that's socially, whatever. You can enjoy whatever kind of wine. Dry, sweet, semi-sweet. They got tons of different flavors, different types of wine. They do have the wine tasting as well. And let me tell you something. The best kind of wine lately, I've been kicking it. I've been loving it. I did over the weekend. I sat back and I drank a little bit of mead, which is the wine, but with the honey instead of sugar, so it's a little bit sweeter. The elderberry blackberry mead, and I drank it through my Viking horn. See, that's what I'm talking about. Ty Masterson, State Senator. Have you tried mead before? Have you ever tried this stuff?
I have not.
Oh, man. Oh, you got to try it. It's good. The honey with instead of the sugar, nice and sweet. From the nationally acclaimed vineyards, it's Wildwood Cellars off the Turnpike in Mulvane or at Maple and Ridge here in Wichita. Also online at wildwoodcellars.com. wildwoodcellars.com. Ty Masterson, District Number 16, State Senate. There's so much going on already. There was some with the swearing-ins yesterday, which the new freshmen in both chambers. Your thoughts from leading the Truth Caucus as well. Are we going more conservative in the legislature? I think we won a good, 5 or 6 or 8 more seats in the House. We actually have 1 or 2 more conservatives in the Senate. I think we're in good shape in both chambers, don't you think?
I actually think we're up about 10 in the House.
Wow.
We had, outside of the governor's race, the Truth Caucus did very well in primaries and generals. We actually won some primaries as well. But even in Johnson County, which is just completely different animal from about the rest of the state, there were conservatives that won some seats there as well. Some really good people coming in, and then you got some local ones in Wichita, Renee Erickson, Stephen Owens, just a little bit north, that are just really quality candidates coming in.
Absolutely. Well, and that's exactly what we need with the session. 2 years ago, we ended up passing Medicaid expansion, and luckily we had the safety net of Governor Brownback that vetoed it. We don't have that safety net anymore. If it gets to her desk, she's signing it. Do you think that we should be concerned this year, or do you think that we can put it off?
You definitely should be concerned, because there are just powers that the governor's office has that are, quite broad. And so you'll find that the things that are going to happen not really through the process, but around the process, right? You'll have vehicles that you'll build a coalition around. It's how we got things like, back when Cebullius got, that's how they got through state-owned gaming and casinos. You're cutting deals. There's a lot of backroom stuff. But there's a lot of power in the governor's office, so definitely room for concern. But there should be close numbers to hold off the big stuff.
I would really like to see some of that, because that's the main one. I know that there's been a lot of focus on that the last few years, and every year, they turn it around and say Republicans just hate sick and poor people because we don't want to expand that CanCare. When in the same breath they say that CanCare is broken and it needs to be fixed. So why would we want to expand a broken system? That doesn't make any sense to me.
So, yeah, not at all. Well, that's typical. It seems that they have an allowance to speak out of both sides of their mouths when you get to that progressive left. There seems to be, double standards are common, and you got the support of most general media.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's true. Let's talk about some of the bills here that were pre-introduced before you guys even got sworn in, and some of these that were announced probably yesterday. One of them, a one-page bill, very simple, Senate Bill number 8 by Senator Oletha Faust-Godot, of a 3-day waiting period for guns. Now, this has been talked about in other places. I don't think it's going to go anywhere with us, but why in the world? If you want to commit a crime, do you think that 3-day waiting of buying a firearm, which, by the way, 90% of guns being purchased are not used for crimes, was the stat that I've seen. So only 10% of crimes with gun usage was actually with the gun being purchased legally. But that 3-day waiting period might deter you from actually wanting to commit that crime. What do you think?
Oh, it's like all the other erosions. Second Amendment rights, they really only affect the law-abiding citizen, right? If you're intent on a crime or damage, you're going to go the illegal route anyway. So it's no effect. Those types of things, on a lot of those pre-file bills, particularly those that are introduced by a particular member from a particular district, they're meant to, I hate to use the word grandstand, but to do something that says, if they're trying to do something for their district or whatever. I don't see that bill going anywhere. Because one thing I do know is the current makeup of the legislature is definitely Second Amendment. It's pro-Second Amendment group. I don't think that would even have a hearing in either federal state affairs committee. But she's trying to put it out there because it's something that she wants to show her district she's trying to do.
Yeah, they come back and say, I tried. I sure did what I could. And as you mentioned, I mean, even though we may be very pro-Second Amendment, I mean, there's been talks of trying to repeal the constitutional carry, trying to remove the guns away from the schools. I don't know. I may have missed it. I try and follow the news best I can. I've not heard of any shootings going on at the universities. So I don't know. I could be wrong there. Maybe we should start repealing the guns on campus.
Well, if they thought they had the votes, they would move that bill in a minute.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so I say there is some strategy behind it. I think they know in that vein they don't have a successful path, at least as of yet. So you won't see that happen yet. But as soon as they think they have the votes, they'll put something forward.
Sure. The other one that kind of stuck out to me from the Senate side was Senate Bill number 12, and I don't know the details of it. I just saw it this morning. It's about 23 pages long, but it has to do with the public assistance and social programs and the work. I'm guessing it's trying to loosen up the girdle on the work requirements, because I think we've done a very good job in the state of Kansas with the stipulations and requirements in order to receive social programs. But this one, maybe you have some more details on it, or if you know anything about it, but is this trying to repeal some of those landmark things that we've done so far?
So I haven't read that particular bill, but I can tell you what it is without even reading it. So they'll pre-file what under the dome would be called a vehicle, right? So it'll be germane to either expanding eligibility or removing work requirements, those types of things. So when that bill comes up for hearing, that's the vehicle that would be used to do whatever. I mean, I can tell you that however it's written now, it will be amended and changed, but it's a vehicle then that starts the conversation in committee, and that's the type of bill that will be used to try to expand Medicaid.
Oh, really? So that's going to be just the nice prelude to it.
Sure. So that's the wonkiness and the strategy that comes up. So that's likely to be. I mean, I haven't seen that one, but that's likely to be something identical to it coming from the House side would likely be your vehicle by which they try to expand Medicaid or remove work requirements, put the able-bodied in the expansion, that type of a thing.
Well, that would make sense then, because coming up just at the very first, Section 1, subsection F talks about the medical assistance means, and then it talks about care oversight. So, yeah, they say, well, let's loosen the girdle. Let's make it easier for people to get social programs. And, oh, by the way, that means easier to get medical services. We got to expand Medicaid in order to be able to cover those that are qualified now to receive social services. That makes total sense.
Yeah, so the way that thing will happen, I mean, if you're super clever sort, which there's a lot of guys that have been up there a long time under the dome, you'd pass some minor innocuous Senate bill that's related to expansion, then you send it over to the House and you work your coalition to gut it and make it full expansion, because that way you've got it all stuffed in a Senate bill, and the leadership of the Senate couldn't stop it, because all you need is one member to stand up and say, we concur with those changes.
Oh, man. Sneaky. I tell you what, they do try and pull the wool over our eyes.
Yeah, that's it. The game has begun.
The game has begun. We got to be on our toes for this one, because they're going to try any way they can. And they may try and slip it through in a way that we don't recognize until it's there and it's being voted on the floor kind of thing.
Yeah, it will come through unrecognizable until the end.
Wow, that's a scary thought. I mean, we could get this and we wouldn't even know it until it's done. It's one of those, you got to vote on it to see what's in it sorts of things.
Right, yeah, it'll be that type of expansion because of the new makeup of the legislature. That's really the only path they have to shove it down the throat of the Kansas people, is to find that, to use that type of strategy to get it done.
Oh, man, that's ridiculous. The other one that I heard, and I don't know if she's done it yet or not, with Governor Kelly, she had talked about the executive order she was going to sign for the special super-duper special rights for members of the LGBTQ community, for state employees. Governor Brownback repealed those protections because, well, we don't need super-duper special protections for groups just because they can fall under the same protections that everybody else has. Is there anything that the legislature can do about that, or is it just kind of, whoever's in power as governor can make that happen, and we can't really do a whole lot?
Yeah, that's the hard part about executive orders. I mean, the power of the chief executive is pretty broad, and if you got a good one, you get good ones. You got a bad one, you get bad ones. She does have the power in that office, just like Governor Brownback did to remove it. She has the power to put it back in. And actually, I remember that she had said that, but I didn't see anything yesterday on it. But it wouldn't surprise me if she did sign that order yesterday, given the special protections for lifestyle choices.
Oh, man. Well, now that we have a relatively conservative legislature, as you said, we gained a decent amount of seats in a little bit in both chambers. We can maybe have enough to pass something. I'm assuming a veto from the governor, and then maybe we could squeak out some overrides. From what you've heard so far early on, the discussions on education finance, are we looking at doing new formulas? Are we looking at just trying to stop the Supreme Court and putting up our wall? Are we looking at actually funding the inflation rates that they want? I mean, what's the discussion you've heard so far?
Well, I've heard all the above so far, discussions from the different camps. I mean, the fact the Supreme Court rejected even all that money that was added last year really opens it up for a clean slate. So I think you'll see efforts from the different groups on all sides of that, everything from, give them hundreds of millions more to, hey, let's rewrite this thing a better way.
So we're going to throw everything at the wall and see what sticks kind of mentality.
I think that's the case.
That'll be outstanding. From the Truth Caucus standpoint, talk about since you run the Truth Caucus in both chambers, and you're kind of seeing the conservatives join up. As you mentioned, a lot of freshmen that are joining the Truth Caucus. Where does the Truth Caucus stand right now? How big is the group, and what could we see coming out of you guys?
So we just got back and kind of reorged. We're actually already exceeding our membership of last year. We broke 40. I think by the time everybody settles, we'll probably be around 50 members of the legislature, which is 30% of the legislature is a big deal and try to gel a message. I mean, the whole purpose of the Truth Caucus is to unify and build relationships between the House and the Senate members and build that conservative message that really matches Kansas, right? Kansas is a center-right population and a state, and we're trying to gel that message and help empower particularly new members that haven't found their feet yet, to help them be bold in their stances for that type of a policy. We're actually nonpartisan. We unfortunately, at this point, don't have any blue dog conservative Democrats yet. Would love to have them. I know they exist in real life, but they just don't exist inside the apparatus of the machine.
Not in the legislature in Kansas and Topeka. But as you mentioned, I mean, it's nonpartisan, but what's crazy about it is that your platform really is the platform of the basic Republican Party, but we have to have a subgroup of the Republican Party called the Truth Caucus to advance the conservative principles that are the founding platform of the Republican Party.
Right. I think, this year was very telling in that regard, right? We had 3 or 4 party switchers. 2 of them were my former office mates. One of them cut a commercial, right? She was Republican for Laura Kelly until the election. Now she's Democrat for Johnson County. I mean, it's and that's what that frustrates me. We're all about, that's kind of where we get the Truth Caucus as a name. We want transparency to the public. So to me, it's a good thing that they switched into the party that actually represents what they believe and how they vote, because that's how the population knows who they are.
Well, sure. And I wanted to ask you that. I mean, your thoughts on the number of switching. I mean, there were, like you mentioned, 3 or 4 from the House, 1 or 2 from the Senate that are flipping parties and saying, no, this isn't the Republican Party I remember, which is silly because they never voted with them anyways. But does that hurt the Republican Party, or is that just really clear the airwaves of who they actually are?
Oh, yeah, it's total transparency. I mean, so when you register the way they are, I mean, technically, it's a technical truth, right? But in reality, it's not. They're not Republicans in the sense that we subscribe to these tenets of government, which you're representing to the public that you do.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's not that the Republicans can't be pretty big tent, but when you got complete pretenders, then it's just deceptive to the voter.
Sure. Well, and I think so. I don't know. I mean, maybe the Republicans that voted for them in the first place, maybe they were like, oh, I've been fooled this whole time. Time to vote for a Republican the next time. Or maybe they're happy. But for me personally, if I voted for somebody and they switched political parties because I found out what their true colors were, I would be a little upset, and I'd want somebody else in there to represent me the way that I want to be represented as a Republican.
Yeah, well, you have the one gal from the House that won her election as a Republican and within weeks was a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah.
So, I mean, the voters of her district put her in as one thing, and she immediately became another.
See, that's a betrayal in my opinion. We got just about a minute or so left. Ty Masterson, State Senator, District number 16. But right off the bat, the early on in the session, what do you anticipate may come out? I mean, I know the discussions are going to start. We have the 2-year budget cycle to look at. We have the education. All that stuff will probably be put on towards the end to kind of work on it throughout the session. But immediately, is it kind of a hurry up and wait mentality, or are there things that we can actually progress in the first few weeks?
I think you'll start to see a few things, like the windfall tax bill that the Senate passed last year to try to give that back to the people, but that failed in the House.
Yes.
I think that will advance pretty quickly since we had passed it last year and we haven't had significant change in our makeup. We've actually gotten better. I think you'll see that. You mentioned the 2-year budget. I think you'll see that disappear in a heartbeat. I think as soon as, because we're governor-based budgeting, as soon as the new governor produces her budget, I guarantee it'll be a 1-year budget, not a 2-year budget. She'll decide to remove that immediately because she can't afford showing projections out too far.
Wow. So instead of even looking further down the road to kind of have a game plan for 5, 6, 10 years down the road, we're just going to say, yeah, you know what, let's do it a year at a time, and then we'll figure it out as we go.
Yeah, I would actually put money on. I have no personal knowledge because I'm not developing that, but I would put money on that the new budget that comes out is a 1-year budget.
Oh, my gosh. That would really throw the wrench in the system. That would be fun to watch. That would be devastating and stupid, but you know what? Hey, I don't know what else you expect from progressives in today's time. So, wow. Well, we'll have to follow that one as well. State Senator Ty Masterson, also head of the Truth Caucus. Thank you, my friend. It's always a pleasure. Keep up the great work. You're leading the voice, and even though you may not be in many of the leadership positions as you were once, you are still the voice for a lot of the conservatives that look to you, and we appreciate that very much.
Yeah, thanks for all your work, Andy, and your audience. Well,
hey, always a pleasure. Ty Masterson right there, State Senator. We'll get you back on the show here real soon. Got to take a break as we wrap up the show today. We'll try and squeeze in a call or two when we come back. This is The Voice of Reason. Stay right here.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Lower the livestock, lower the grains and soybeans. We're going to start our Tuesday that way. Let's check the ag futures markets. Brady Charles at Schwedeman Incorporated is here with all the information. Good morning, Brady.
Good morning. Well, yeah, we've had a weaker open here this morning with the grains trading slightly lower and livestock also opening slightly lower. February live cattle are down a nickel at 125.37. April down a quarter at 124 or 126.40, and June down 35 at 116.82. January feeders are down 30 at 144.55. March down 42 at 143.97, and April down 32 at 144.82. February lean hogs are up 52 cents at 62.35. In the grain markets, March Kansas City wheat's down 3/4 at 4.98 1/4. Maize down a penny at 5.09 1/4. July's down half at 5.19 1/4. March Chicago's down 3/4 at 5.13 1/2. July's down a penny at 5.23 1/2. March spring wheat is down 1 1/2 at 5.64. Cord market has turned back into the green, up a quarter on the March at 3.78 3/4. May up a quarter at 3.87 1/4. July up 3/4 at 3.95 1/2. March beans down 3 at $9.50. May down 3 1/4 at 9.14. Nove down 3 1/4 at 9.43. March bean oils up 3 at 28.44. The meal's down 90 at 310.90. This has been Brady Charles from Schwedeman Incorporated. For questions on these markets, any other markets, and all your marketing needs, please give us a call at 800-272-9131 or visit us online at upthelimit.com.
Send your taste buds on an exciting flavor vacation at Hurricane Sports Grill. Indulge in Hurricane's made-to-order jumbo chicken wings with 35 fabulous sauces from our sauce bar, half-pound burgers, and savory tacos. With 20 beers on tap, including local crafts or your choice of Hurricane specialty cocktails, come and enjoy your favorite sport on any of our 30 TVs or call ahead for carry-out game day platters. Don't forget Hurricane's daily specials, including Monday's all-you-can-eat chicken wings. Hurricane Sports Grill, a fun-filled, family-friendly environment at 13th and Tyler.
Joe and the guys at Carl's Goodyear, well, they are nice guys. That's the only way to describe them. Need new tires? Got you covered. Flat tire fixed? Done. Tune-up? Oil change? Brakes? Exhaust? Radiator? You get the idea. They do almost everything for your vehicle. They will also give you a ride when your car is in the shop. Nice guys who know auto repair, but above that, they know people and treat them like they would want to be treated. Carl's Goodyear, right on the corner of Market and Waterman, 264-5385.
In winter, your furnace constantly cycles on and off. All day, every day, for months at a time. Today you'll learn what you should do in return to ensure happy days for both the furnace and you. A forced air furnace is easy to take for granted. It's basically quiet and out of sight. And simple in theory, or so we think. But in reality, they are complex technology-wise. First, they run on expensive fuels. So maintaining peak efficiency is important. They turn on and off dozens of times every day. Thus, calibration and lubrication come into play. They also process more dust than a vacuum cleaner. So filtration and cleaning are extremely important. Then, there are the years of extreme temperatures that can fatigue and crack the metal heat exchanger, allowing carbon monoxide to escape and creating a potential fire hazard. Want to ensure lots more happy days for both your furnace and you? Have it serviced professionally at least once a year and enjoy. For more tips, visit our website at onthehouse.com.
Did you know your concrete porch and steps, patio, pool deck, garage floor, even your ugly laminate countertops can be resurfaced with real stone as easily as painting? I'm Peter Deitch, president of Deitch Coatings, and I'm here to say you can. Tastefully accent surfaces all around your home with just a roller and a brush to achieve beautiful, high-performance stone finishes that last. Why wait? Deitch Coatings are available to you factory direct and online at homedepot.com. Plan your next project at DeitchCoatings.com. That's D-A-I-C-H Coatings.com.
This is Mark Walters, host of Armed American Radio, and you're listening to The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Oh, yeah, wrapping up the program today. Welcome back into the show. Thanks again to Ty Masterson, Kansas State Senator, District Number 16. Great friend, solid conservative, great leader in our legislature, head of the Truth Caucus, and we appreciate him coming on the show and doing what he does each and every day. It's scary. This is why we need to stay vigilant, which is why we need to pay attention. I'm going to try and read as many of these bills as I can, and I didn't even think about that. It's a scary thought. But like the one for not only repealing some of the work requirements and some of the stipulations to get food stamps and social programs, like we've done very good here in Kansas, which I don't know why you need it. The economy's doing well. We have more jobs than we do workers. So what's the result of the Democrats? Instead of saying, hey, we're getting people back to work, this is awesome, we say, no, we need to make it a little easier to get on food stamps so you can stop working or stop doing as much because we got you on this. But then taking that and taking it to the next level as well of saying, well, now that we have more people on social programs, they qualify for Medicaid. Now we just need to allow the resources to them as well. So we need to do this as well. I could see them trying to pass a bill saying there's gun violence and therefore we need more Medicaid expansion to take care of their bullet wounds. I could see them trying something like that. We got to stay vigilant. And that's what we're going to do on this show. This is your show. It's time to speak up, speak out, speak aloud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. This is the Voice of Reason. Everybody have a wonderful Tuesday.
Speak. Broadcasting from the Rusty Eck Ford Studios.
No payments till 2020. Only at Rusty Eck Ford.
Family owned, customer friendly. This is the Big Talker, KQAM.
Joe and the guys at Carl's Goodyear, well, they are nice guys. That's the only way to describe them. Need new tires? Got you covered. Flat tire fixed? Done. Tune-up, oil change, brakes, exhaust, radiator? You get the idea. They do almost everything for your vehicle. They will also give you a ride when your car is in the shop. Nice guys who know auto repair, but above that, they know people and treat them like they would want to be treated. Carl's Goodyear, right on the corner of Market and Waterman, 264-5385.
Wichita's Big Talker is KQAM. Catch Andy Hoosier morning 6 to 9. Mike Gallagher 9 to noon. The Dana Show live noon till 2. Dave Ramsey 2 to 5. And Joe Pags 5 to 8. Wichita's Big Talker is KQAM. This is a Steckline communication station. K273CX FM 102.5 and AM 1480 KQAM. Wichita proud. It's time for the latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by The Laundry Station, Kansas's premier laundry services provider in the Wichita area. Centrally located on Oliver at Kellogg. The Laundry Station.
Good Tuesday. A man who was shot last week by Wichita police officers has died. Wichita police said yesterday that 29-year-old Jeffrey Morris of Wichita died from his injuries on Saturday.